Okay, and we are live, and I'll just let YouTube. YouTube should refresh itself, and then I can just mute
Okie
YouTube.
dokie. Good evening, everyone. Um,
And hi, Travels with Jason. I see you on Facebook, or not Facebook, on YouTube.
uh-huh. Oh, sorry, hang on. I need to mute my
Yeah, make sure to mute
hold on.
YouTube.
Hold on.
And hello, Andrew, and Gerard O'Connor.
Hello
Ooh,
guys. Thanks for
what was
joining us
that?
again.
What was
That
that?
was
Ding!
that was me. I was just turning my notifications off. I'd forgotten to do it.
Okay.
That was me. Not gremlins. Me.
Nah.
I've got a sleeping cat by my feet.
Mm-hmm. I'm bringing up
So
some chat room text.
hello Jason. How you doing, man? Thanks for stopping by. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Can't sing anymore, otherwise we'll get flagged.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew. So how have you been this week, Tim?
Fine.
Anything
Aside
exciting?
from just people, just a-holes and dumbasses on social media and YouTube that you
Oh,
have to deal with.
oh, okay.
Gerard O'Connor has a nice compliment for you.
Yeah, it's only because I couldn't be asked to wash my hair today, Gerard, so I just chucked a hat on.
Yeah,
Otherwise my hair would be all
I need to wash my hair. It's getting too dry.
Yeah, well I didn't
And
want all my lank hair getting in the way, so I chucked a hat on today.
Jason saying hi, Tim and Monkeyboy. And
Hello, hello.
Gerard O'Connor, hello Gerard, hope all is well. And then we've got Lester Jose the Skeptic Tank
Good
in the
evening,
chat saying
Lester.
howdy guys,
Good
and
evening, Lester.
Gerard is calling him Sir Lester.
Sir Lester of the Realm.
Andrew, I hope you folks aren't expecting me to wash. That is a bridge too far.
uh,
Sadly, you will always get them, Tim. Try and not let them get to you.
yeah.
And hello, chaps.
Sai, Retro Toy Guy. Good evening to you, sir. Sai made me sad earlier on in the week with a puppy video. It was quite moving.
Guy. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Guys, how awesome was Dean's return? Such a cool thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I didn't get to do his live stream on Sunday because Sunday was a big premiere of Retro Blasting's Indy 5 review video, and that was a 4-hour review.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
did
that
watch
was,
that, but I was on Dean's stream. Um and then I did watch the retro blasting video the following
and
day.
Dean did put up a video recently of those some new Stan Solo custom Star Wars action figures, so I did
Yeah.
watch that video of his.
Yeah, that was good. Jason's been to the bridge too far.
And what's that you're saying, Andrew? Andrew, I saw Masterverse Whiplash on clearance at Target today. Thought of Skeletor's
Ah,
channel. Okay,
wow.
so you saw the one of the latest, or one of the Motu Origins action figures there, I guess, or is
Well,
that
that's the Masterverse line, the Mattel
okay? So
Masterverse. I haven't got that one. Um, oh, I'll have to check that out. See if any of the cheap ones are making their way over here. In fact, to be honest, I don't think I've seen him over here, but he must have been at some point. I got some new Motu bits this week, but we'll have a look at those a bit later. Oh yeah, Gerard. Yeah, it was a good watch actually. I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen the film. I don't feel I need to watch the film, but it was a very interesting perspective on it. I don't think it was necessary to have watched the film to enjoy the retro blasting episode. Dean got other video up, other get one. That makes no sense, Jason. You're on Dean's stream as well, and Dean got other video up, other get one.
Yeah, we don't quite understand what you mean.
Sorry, man, I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, Dean's stream was a good one. It was a nice comeback. It was yeah, it was very, very entertaining.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been quite a good been a quite good week for content.
Mm-hmm.
I must say, I thought that indie kind of retrospective, if you can call it that, that indie takedown was pretty good. It certainly seems that Disney have made a mess of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. He's not purple, Gerard. He's blue. You keep saying he's purple, but he's not. He's blue.
And Travels the North, Jason. Great video Dean put on today.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. Put the video up today of when he and Jason went toy shopping at, was it Mega Plaza? I think it was it Mega Plaza, Jason? You correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, he does like to ejaculate loudly about a certain male body part. He does.
Yeah, and for a change, I'm going to have to advocate for Skeletor to threaten to beat him and possibly beat him if he keeps that up.
Well,
that's going to be
keep watching. Keep watching this week. There's going to be there's going to be steps taken this week. I'll just leave it at that.
That's pretty much in poor taste. He needs to be humbled and learn to be a bit more submissive to Skeletor.
There's no such thing as taste when it comes to comedy, Tim.
Yeah, but he's going to have to be
steps
a bit
will
more
be taken.
humbled.
Check him out. Check it out this week. Humbled. You'll see steps will be taken this week to address the issue.
And if anybody saw my latest shorts video, I got this little light up plastic jack-o'-lantern at CVS Pharmacy. I'll turn out the light, and it should. Yeah, I just have to press a button. It lights up. I have to hold down the button to keep it lit.
Oh. Okay.
So it doesn't stay lit up. It's more of a blinking jack-o'-lantern when I just press a button on it.
Okay. Are you going to put that out the front of your house at Halloween?
Probably put it in the window. You can't blame Whiplash. All those lists have ruined his self-confidence.
Yeah, he's very highly strung at the moment. In my best Yoda impression,
yeah,
suffering with color blindness. Oh,
yeah, Gerard O'Connor
in my color blindness. He is.
In my best Yoda impression, suffering the color blindness. He is.
Excellent.
So, did you get anything this week, Monkeyboy?
I've got a few bits. Do you think it's a bit early to get them out, or do you want me to do that now?
You can start now because I'm not letting as many people on as quickly as I usually do.
Okay. Okay.
So I just.
Should we try and keep it to a sensible time this week as well, rather than
Yeah.
another marathon? Right. Okay. I'll show you the things I picked up this week. Hold on. Let me just remove my vape because the cat's going to get it. Ewok, that's not for you, right? The first thing I picked up was a book, and it was Stephen King's Cujo. I did read this years and years and years ago when I was very young. I can't remember anything about it. I remember enjoying it, and it came up in conversation with a friend. We were talking about the film, and I decided to pick up a copy of the book. So that was my first little pickup, was Stephen King's Cujo. My next pickup was I only really had 3 pickups this week, to be honest. My next one was the Motu Origins Point Dread and Talon Fighter. As we can see, Point Dread here is the mystical outpost, just there. And then we've got the Talon Fighter, which is a flying vehicle, we are told. So yeah, I'm slightly disappointed that this doesn't have a window in the box, with the toy sort of assembled or arranged so that we can see the toy. I would have preferred that. However, the artwork is really good on it, particularly on this end, which shows Panther and Battle Cat going up against each other, ridden by Evil Lyn and Teela, respectively. So I was quite pleased to get that one. I was also pleased to get the US version, which says Mystical Outpost and Flying Vehicle on it, and it doesn't have all the extra languages on the back. We've just got the normal write up and stuff on the back here. So yeah, I was pleased to add that one to the collection. Talon Fighter was a toy that I often sort of admired from afar when I was younger. I never owned it personally, but I knew a couple of people that did have it, and I used to like playing with that. So I'm pleased to have the vehicle. Obviously, because I'm a bit of a daft idiot, I won't be opening this, so I shall probably likely never see the vehicle within. But nevertheless, I do own that now. And the third item that I picked up, I haven't actually got to show on camera because it is so big. But I did actually receive my pre-order for Snake Mountain this week as well, and that is also the American version. I can see it now. It's up on top of my drinks cabinet, where I've displayed it, and it's the US version that says Evil Stronghold of Skeletor. And that looks very nice up on display. If I get the camera and spin it round, I don't know if you can see it up there on top of my cabinet. I don't know if I'm pointing the camera in the right place, but it's up there anyway. So yeah, Snake Mountain, was pleased to get that. That was cool. But that's really about it for this week. I did get at the end of last week, I got some storybooks, but I'll maybe show those a bit later if we struggle for something to talk about. How about you, Tim? Have you got anything aside from your jack-o'-lantern?
No, and Lester San Jose, are you on I don't think I follow you on Facebook, but are you on YouTube or not? Yeah, I know you're on YouTube, but are you on Twitter? So I can private message you a StreamYard link. I'm just trying to figure out a way to do it because I don't think I follow you on any social media aside from YouTube. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get to private message you the StreamYard link.
If you have to put the link public, Tim, you can go ahead and do that, but just be very careful who you
Yeah,
accept.
I rather just private message it
Okay.
to people that I know for the time being, just to be
Okay.
careful.
I don't know if Nick's gonna pop in later, but if you haven't put the public
Yeah,
link up, he won't be able to join. But you can message him separately, can't you? I think.
yeah. Nick, I can send him a private link.
So Gerard's asking if we go all out with Halloween decorations. Not anymore. I do really like Halloween. Halloween is my favourite of the holidays. But I don't necessarily go out with the decorations. For probably one of several reasons. Or there are several reasons why. Firstly, if I decorate my house and windows and doors with decorations, I would end up with loads of children knocking on the door all evening, trick or treating, which I don't mind. I haven't got a problem with trick or treating, but I prefer not to have the hassle of having to get up and down every 5 minutes. And also, I don't usually buy a big stock of candy. Um, I might consider doing it this year, hanging a jack o' lantern outside, um, in case kids want to come to the door. But where I live is in a bit of a well, it's a cul-de-sac, and there aren't an awful lot of children that come through generally. But if I hang a jack o' lantern outside the door, people will be able to see it from quite a way. Anyone that's coming through the cul-de-sac, and I'll attract everybody because there are a lot of old people that live around here, and I don't think they do trick or treating for the kids, so they would all gravitate towards my house. But we'll see. And I don't put stuff up around the house because I'm I'm too lazy to take it down again, and it would end up being up all year. I do have a number of Halloween decorations, and I was thinking about perhaps putting them up in a week or two. But honestly, they would be here. They'd be here next year. You know. How about you, Tim? What do you do in terms of decorations? Do you decorate your house and stuff?
Yeah, my mom has most of the decorations out. She'll get most of the decorations out, and
Okay. Cool.
I'll put them up.
Cool. Do you have like skeletons and bats and witches and stuff, or is it more kind of like lights and lanterns?
Skeletons and bats and the usual.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I do like all that stuff. I like Halloween. I don't particularly like this time of year because of um because the nights obviously draw in, and it's dark and cold in the evenings, which I'm not a huge fan of. Um, because I do suffer with the seasonal affective disorder, which means that my my mood and mental health tends to plummet in the winter time when there's less daylight. Um, However, it must be said that if it's cold or well, if it's windy and rainy and stuff and outside, it does make you feel a bit more cozy inside. I had a nice nap earlier on because it was raining quite heavily outside, and I could hear it against the windows, and I quite like that. Um, so I had a little bit of a nap just before the stream. Um, Let me just see if I can refresh my tablet so we can get up to date. Um, Gerard says he's got many frightening looking neighbours, uh, and they've got to count as decorations. um, oh, Zantara, hello. Oh, Zantara's saying to put up decorations on October the 30th and then take them down before the 31st. So put them up for a few hours and then bring them down again. No, I would just leave them up, Santara. I like Halloween decorations. I would quite happily do my whole house with, fake spiders' webs and witches and skeletons and pumpkins and stuff. And I'd quite happily keep it up all year. Um, I don't really have room for decorations because all my surfaces are covered in toys. Um, but no, I do enjoy a good Halloween decoration, but I just haven't tended to do that in the past few years. Um, Jason and Sai are saying hello to Zantara. Oh, Dean's here. Hi, Dean. Um, he's been unboxing some Duran Duran Funko Pops. Okay, well, um, I think we all know the general consensus on Funko Pops, but also it is acceptable considering that there is very little Duran Duran merchandise. So you get a free pass for that one, Dean. That's fine. So I can't quite believe that Dean's got Duran Duran Funko Pops. Yes, they are indeed a thing. Jason's saying that his mum was the same with winter. Yeah, a lot of people do suffer with that. How about you, Tim? How are you in the winter time? Do you find it affects your mood?
It just all depends. I know when I was younger, I think when I was like a teen and a 20 something, I would start to hate the holidays.
Right. Is it because of the weather and the dark nights, dark evenings, or
It's just got to be a little bit rebellious having to deal with family.
okay? Um,
And
Dean
Lester,
saying
I emailed you the StreamYard link, so check your regular email.
Dean says that the Funko Pops were Wave 2, where the guys were in the Wild Boys costumes. I didn't realise they'd done 2 waves. Reading Movies is here. Good evening, sir. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Santara saying that Halloween is the only holiday she decorates for, and says it's her favourite time of year. Yeah, mine too. I like I said, unfortunately I've got the seasonal affective disorder, which is a bit of a shame. I haven't got it as bad as some people get it. Some people get it very, very badly. I'm not too bad with it. But I must say I do like Halloween. I like the whole vibe. And of course this year I'm looking forward to watching. I think I'm going to watch The Thing, and The Witch, and of course Night of the Creeps, which you so very kindly introduced me to. Have you seen Night of the
Uh,
Creeps, Tim? I don't know if
yeah,
anybody
I
asked
saw it
you.
on Turner Classic Movies.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Yeah,
know, maybe 10 years ago or so.
okay. No, I'm
Okay,
looking forward to watching that
Lester,
again.
Lester, I responded it, and the link should be in the response now. So you should get the link now.
Reading Movies has just had lasagna. The lucky, lucky boy. Jason likes it a bit hotter. He likes the summer.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn on the
Um,
light in here now.
oh,
Delvian Seek, I must be the only one who likes winter. Reynolds reviews, Yo boys, I once dressed up as Michael Myers and stood in a dim lit alleyway. Okay.
yes, I've seen the photograph, Luke. That was very good actually. That was very effective.
Hi, hi
Good evening,
Lester.
Delvian.
Hey guys.
Hello, Delvian. Good to see you, man. Hi, Lester.
Hello. Oh, that fell. Just random items falling off. So
How you
Nothing,
doing? How
nothing.
about you, Lester? What how do you feel about the autumn or the fall, the season? Do you find that it affects your mood or?
Well, I've been in Oregon for 10, 11 years, so I'd never had experience of change of seasons until then. So
Okay.
it doesn't really affect me. I find it quite nice at times
Okay. And
because
how do you feel about Halloween? Is that something you enjoy?
if I'm with the right people, generally I my apartment complex does not do anything for Halloween. I don't get any trick or treaters coming by. So as much as I
Oh,
want
okay.
candy, it's like I'm not going to eat the candy. I mean, if I had my druthers, it'd be like a giant bag of chocolates. That's what it'll all be, and I don't need that. I don't need that right now. um,
Zantara's saying she wouldn't mind the early dark nights if not for the stupid daylight savings time we have here. They have there. It's the sudden 1 hour time change that she can never adjust to. Yeah, we do. We have the same thing in the UK.
oh, you do?
Um,
Okay,
yeah. We put the clocks back by an hour, and then it's sort of dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
right, right.
which is not great. Um, how about decorations, Lester? Do you decorate for Halloween?
Not necessarily. Not unless I'm with my parents, because, like I said, with my complex not doing anything, nobody comes by. It's like I want to be festive. I'll probably watch a scary movie or something if I really am up to it. But
Hmm.
when I was growing up, I there's a point where I stopped going trick or treating and I wanted more decking the house. It all goes back to being with my folks because they have
Okay.
the bigger space, and we do get trick or treaters, so we want to create an experience for them. At least that was when I last remember doing that. But since I haven't been around my folks I haven't been around them for a while. I visit
Okay.
them outside of Halloween,
Right.
but I don't have the opportunity to deck out the place. Whether that
Okay.
was, but the last thing I remember, my dad would sometimes put play webbing, spider webs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Sometimes my we used to do pumpkin carving, the jack o' lanterns, and we used
Yeah.
to do that every year when we were
Oh,
still
that's
kids.
cool.
And then we still had this audio cassette, with our two cassette system, and we would plug it into the house and we would play the Halloween sounds. That's that would be the last time I remember the, my parents going all out for
Right.
Halloween.
Right.
I mean, my sibs and I were all in our 30s and 40s. So if we were to converge, I think we'd be more likely to go trick or treating, just kind of relive our childhood. Well,
Yeah.
also my brother and sister respectively have their own kid, so that might be
Okay.
something that would inspire them. But
Yeah. Oh, cool. Cool.
yeah.
Well, at least you enjoy the season because some people don't observe it at all, do they? So at least you kind of still enjoy it.
I mean, given that I come from a religious family, and I can parse the two, so I don't mind doing the whole go all out for Halloween, kind of knowing the history of the practice. I mean, I can have
Yeah.
my fun, I can have my observance at the same time. I'm not like a can't do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't. I can enjoy it. I can do both. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just quickly catch up with the chat. Let me just go back and see if we've missed anyone. Soda Cauldron saying that they go all out for Halloween. It was a Donnie Darko rabbit costume last
Mm,
year, and Honey Monster this year, which is a bit of a change from Donnie Darko rabbit, isn't it?
mm.
Um, Lucas saying, is Halloween big in UK now? But when he was a kid, it wasn't celebrated much in UK. Yeah, I think the American enthusiasm for it kind of bled over the pond a little bit, and I think people observe it a bit more enthusiastically in the UK now, certainly. So that's a good point.
No, it was interesting talking to Jason from 540 Studios, where he admits to not liking the stuff from like cartoons and so forth, but he loved horror movies growing up as a kid.
Okay,
So
yeah.
a guy from his region, he was more into that than just I guess everyday American cartoons. Or he was into that. So I do find it intriguing. If you go into that part of the world, I wonder what the other sentiments would be about that. Because
yeah,
I haven't delved into Norwegian folklore, although I should, because I want to get more into that as I think about when I want to start watching Troll Hunter. Just because.
Oh yeah. I bought that the other week. Yeah.
Yeah. So just getting my mind set up for the lore so I can appreciate it on some level.
Yeah. We need to say goodnight to Sai because it appears he's off to bed now. So good night, Sai. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate that.
And tell him I did finish MI2. I am barely starting MI3.
You did. Oh, he's going to be sorry he missed the celebration. Well done. I would give you a round of applause, but I'm holding my tablet at the moment.
Oh my God, that was an ordeal.
At least you got to the end of it. I genuinely didn't think that you were going to, so that's good. Reading Movies is saying that he's the same with the daylight savings time, and he thinks that we should leave it and stop thinking that we can control time, which is fair enough. Dean is saying that he tried carving a turnip a couple of years ago, and it was hard going. Yeah, I imagine it would be. They are a very hard vegetable. I have seen it done before. And Reading Movies is saying that he dislikes the smell of raw pumpkin. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. Carrot and turnip mash, Gerard. Yep, nice. Yeah. And Andrew is saying that carving pumpkins is too much hard work. It's messy and then it goes rotten. And says that turnips look easier. Turnips are not easier to carve, but they do last a bit longer, and they don't tend to go mushy. And Dean's saying they only had turnips to make lanterns out of. Maybe it was a Scottish thing. I've seen turnips here, but yeah. Soda's agreeing about the turnips, saying they last a bit longer. Luke says it may be controversial, but with trick-or-treaters, he has rules. They can't look like they're in their mid-teens, and they must make an effort, not just a Dracula mask in a bin liner.
Oh no! The one that doesn't require effort is if you get a white blanket and you go as a ghost. Just poke the hole so you can breathe and see. That's the least effort involved.
Well, you see, in the UK, generally speaking, 90 to 95% of people that dress up will dress up as something spooky: a ghost, a witch, a skeleton, a zombie, a vampire, werewolf, these sorts of things. But in the US, it's more of a tradition just to dress up as something. So you get kids dressed up as Spider-Man or Wonder Woman and stuff. And in the UK, it's almost exclusively creepy stuff. So if you were to show up at someone's house dressed as Spider-Man and say trick or treat, the person in the house would likely say, "What on earth are you doing? It's Halloween. It's not a fancy dress party. It's not a costume party. You need to be in something scary." So I find that difference quite interesting. That when the enthusiasm for dressing up kind of came across the pond, we selected the spooky stuff rather than the Little Bo Peep and stuff like that. Santara saying good night to Sai and hoping that Sai can make an on-screen appearance next time. Jason saying Oh yeah, he doesn't think that Halloween was very popular where he lives in Kent. Yes, the old bin liner costume, Luke. Gerard's agreeing with you. Yeah, yeah, there were a lot of those in the 80s, weren't there? Bin liner costumes. And Andrew says he's done dressing up. Santara says the lazy killjoys that wear a T-shirt saying "This is my costume" ought to get bounced out of Halloween parties. Yeah, yeah. Soda Cauldron's mentioning the daylight savings time, saying that Scottish farmers resisted an EU proposal to stop it a while back. Okay, okay.
Interesting.
Well, we've got a busy chat tonight, Tim, haven't we? Gerard saying his nan used to give out fruit with pound coins taped to them. Okay, cool. As long as no one choked on a pound coin. I feel that we're getting our Halloween conversation done 3 weeks too early. We're going to have nothing to talk about on Halloween. We'll have said it all.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting discussion about practices between sides of the pond, where you do get that. I was if I remember right, I knew I dressed as Superman one Halloween.
Okay.
I dressed as an I used my dad's Navy uniform one Halloween.
Okay.
And we used to dress up as, like, even my sisters. We got into it. We dressed as Rambo. we got the paint on our face and so forth. It was like, but our most popular among the boys was dressing up as ninjas. And we were just like,
yeah, ninjas.
It was because it was like sort of a bragging rights deal, especially depending on what sword you went with. Like, talk about childhood envy. Like, I think your sword's cooler than mine. I want that sword kind of deal.
Okay.
And we used to do that. Now, I don't know how big it was for you, because I know it was big when I went to grade school. So everyone dressed up for Halloween. I don't know if it was like that in your neck of the woods, if schools encourage kids to dress up during Halloween. And
no, not so much. Not growing up. No, I mean, they would acknowledge Halloween as an event, and you would do craft activities to do with witches and goblins and stuff, but it was never really, growing up, it was never really that popular. Like Luke said earlier, it's only in the past maybe 20 years that it's become a more of more of an adult pastime. It used to be just for the kids, but now you probably see more adults dressing up than kids, because kids think it's a bit silly or whatever. You'll get very young children dressing up, and then there'll be a gap from about 10 to
sounds about right.
10 to 21. People don't tend to dress up, and then 21-year-olds decide that it's cool to dress up again. I mean, Xantara was saying that that she got it backwards, that she didn't get too into it when she was a child, but as an adult she loves dressing up. Tell us, Xantara, what would be your go-to costume? Something creepy, I assume, because it seems that you like proper Halloween. I don't imagine you dressing up as Little Bo Peep. So let us know what your outfit would be, Xantara. Soda's agreeing with you, Lester. He's saying that ninjas work for everything.
Yep.
Which
I
is
saw
true.
his comment about the putting ninja in front of anything is an improvement.
Yeah. Xantara's saying that Halloween is the only thing getting her through a personal family loss and a birthday season she doesn't want to celebrate. I'm sorry to hear that, Xantara. Well, you'll have to come and hang out with us just before Halloween, because whenever the stream is before Halloween, we'll probably do another Halloween type conversation. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm just looking at reading movies comment. That is sad in some ways because it's like that.
More interested in their phones.
Yeah, well, it's just hilarious. We were joking about it. Yes, in a stream from yesterday, I was a panelist on, and I think it was like just it was a backroom discussion about Disney World banning live streaming. I'm thinking,
oh really?
How are they going to enforce it? Because smartphones, and especially because carriers are pricing legacy phones out of the water. Like they want everybody on data plans now instead of, dumb phone plans. So it's but number one, it's like I can easily say, what are you going to do? Take my phone away? I need it because I treat my phone like if I need something for an emergency, I need to have my phone on me. What are you doing? Anyway,
they're gonna have an army of Plutos and Mickeys going round.
Oh geez, the phone. Anyway,
they'll have an army of them.
Oh geez.
Jason says he does 3 outfits: the movie Star Trek from number 2, then Mirror Universe Starfleet officer, and Battlestar Galactica warrior pilot. Okay. So nothing spooky there, Jason. That's all rather sci-fi, isn't it? But that's cool. Zantara says she likes the anime and video game character costumes. Okay.
Yeah. I've seen plenty of folks. I respect what they do. I don't cosplay. I usually go as comfortable man. An homage to James Avery, the late James Avery, who also voiced Shredder in the Turtles cartoon.
Okay, yeah.
But I just remember that scene in Fresh Prince. He said, "I'm going as comfortable man."
Yeah, teens are not really into the Halloween thing anymore. And I guess when I was younger, I didn't dress up an awful lot. I remember doing it a few times, trick or treating, but it's not something I did consistently through my sort of adolescence.
For me, I don't know what I would trick or treat. I would go trick or treating for, because what would I do with all the candy? I mean, I'm very selective now. It's like, don't give me anything. The sweet candies, don't give me any of that. Those sucker type of candies, lollipops, I'm not into that.
Okay.
Like, hey guys, you want all this? Because I'm not going to eat any of it. It's just going to be
well, I mean, I don't know if you had the same thing out in the States, but there was a little thing in the UK where you go to a house and get the. I mean, I didn't do this because I was too old, but kids would go to a house and get a handful of candy, and they would also get a little tube of toothpaste.
That's nice of them. That's nice of them. It's like, yeah, it's called balancing the equation.
Zantara is saying that you would be bounced out of any Halloween party that she was at for your comfortable man costume. That would have got you ejected.
I'm sure.
And Gerard's saying that he doesn't dress up for Halloween anymore, but he dresses as a man-child daily. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
No, it's funny because sometimes my work would do certain meetings and we have certain themes. So I think one was like a Halloween-esque, and I just used a Santa hat or one of those elf-like hats you get from the dollar store. And
yeah.
That's my costume.
Reading Movies is asking if anyone out there is pre-ordering the Origins Lady Slither. It would seem that you have got your finger on the pulse there,
Right.
Reading Movies, because I wasn't aware of that. And I call myself a Motu fan, and there we are. I've learned something. I don't know if anyone else has been ordering that. I will definitely have a look at that.
Yeah, no to both. I have to agree on because I don't collect Black Series, and I'm not too much into the Motu Origins. I was at first, but now I'm not.
Like I said in that same stream, like if I had known collecting was a thing and you wouldn't be laughed, maybe you would have been laughed at in the 90s. But I know for those who are diehards, I had my He-Man toys, I had my Turtle toys, but it was especially with the way my parents thought, particularly my mom. It was almost like I would have to give up one for the other. I had to make room. I have to make room. Like,
oh, Dean said he has the Lady Slither figure. It's a nice figure. Oh, okay, Dean, that's cool. I'll have to look into that. I haven't been I wasn't aware of that, so I'll have to try and get hold of it. Perhaps it hasn't made its way over to these shores yet.
And I'm with Soda Cauldron on that. Like out here where I'm at, once summer ends and you break into fall, that's where all the rain will start getting more consistent. Because the joke about my region is it rains every day, and that's all you'll be looking at the window. And I would hunker down with a good bowl of soup because I can. So Soda Cauldron on that.
Okay.
Not a Mutu guy, but haven't got a Black Series in a while.
Okay. Gerard's wondering how many Black Series figures have been released up to now. Hundreds, Gerard. Honestly, hundreds. I mean, I've got hundreds, and I haven't got anywhere near a complete collection. And if you include, I mean, because the line started in what 2013, 2014, and you had the blue line boxes, and then the yellow line box. Orange line boxes. I'm just trying to remember colors. Orange line boxes, and then the blue line boxes. Then you had the red and black boxes, and now we've got the archive range as well, plus the new mural boxes. So I mean, there's absolutely hundreds of them.
I generally just, in terms of what I would buy, it's like I like what I like, and I'm not like actively hunting for a certain line. If like my thing with like G.I. Joe, and I know I'm not talking Motu or Black Series, but it's like I need a quintessential figure. So for G.I. Joe, I want a quintessential Snake Eyes figure. Because if I were to remember, that was probably, or Storm Shadow, that was probably my favorite character. But He-Man, it's like, yeah, I remember the cartoons, but it's not something I would go to. Like if someone were to, if it was something shown by happenstance, like if it was going to be provided via like Netflix or somewhere random on the web, it's not. And it's nothing against Motu. It's just I like what I like. It's usually I gravitate. It's whatever I'm more gravitating towards, and not so much about that line is trash or that property is trash. It's, but yeah.
Zantara's saying, Monkeyboy, you're just listing off colours. I know I'm listing off colours, Zantara. I like listing off colours. um, okay. Dean saying he's had the Lady Slither figure for a few weeks. And Gerard Connors saying he's contemplating throwing out General Grievous because he won't stand up. Now, you see, this is why I like to keep things in boxes, because they all stand up absolutely fine. Yeah. I've never had one fall down yet. And Andrew saying, Lester, there's good news because there are only hundreds of Snake Eyes figures.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh, Kim's just appeared in the chat. Hi, Kim. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Hello. So Lester, Lester, let me ask you something I meant to ask you last week. Are you familiar with many kung fu movies? Are you a fan of kung fu movies?
Oh yeah, I'm. There's a guy on YouTube. He's a big Bruce Lee fan, and probably bigger than I am, even though I have studied his art. But yeah, believe it or not, my favorite kung fu movie of all time is one titled SPL, which is just an abbreviation or whatever you want to call it, acronym for Sha Po Long. It's a play on Chinese astronomy and karma.
Okay.
And it's a very, and I never got into depressing movies until I met my housemate at the time.
Okay.
Like, depressing, huh? And then once I watched Sin City, and then it was especially after watching Sin City that I just picked up this DVD from a local shop in LA Chinatown when I usually go there like after my class would wrap up, because there are a lot of places you can go to in LA Chinatown. You can go to a restaurant, you can go to some like indoor bazaar, and you'll find like $5 DVDs. Like, believe it or not, I picked up Kung Fu Hustle for $5 when it was still out in the theaters.
Okay.
So that was the kind of place it was. But Sha Po Long was one of the movies I also purchased along one of those lines, and it had Sammo Hung, Donnie Yen, and before he became, I don't know if he's famous, but a Chinese actor by the name of Wu Jing. He's in a lot of
Wolf Warrior. That's quite a lineup. That's quite a lineup.
Yep.
I've got a game that we can maybe play in a little while.
Sure.
If you're into your kung fu movies, I've set up a little game. It's called Yes, No, Don't Know.
Sure.
We'll play that in a little while. Let me just catch up with what's going on here. Soda saying he watched a He-Man episode yesterday, and he was saying that Skeletor is that gave evil Lyn to an evil wizard in exchange for He-Man. Okay, well that sounds like a fair swap. That seems okay.
Yeah.
Kim's on the train. Oh well, I hope your travel's okay, Kim. She's saying she's got rubbish Wi-Fi on her train. So yeah, well I hope your traveling is okay. It's very late to be traveling. I hope you're comfortable. Okay. She's got a long journey. Yeah. It's been a long day. Jason saying to Kim it's been a long day. Dean's asking if we have room for one more on the stream, Tim. Can you get a link to Dean somehow, Tim?
Okay. Yeah, I can take up to 6 people, but I'm only private messaging the link to people.
Are you able to do that privately to Dean?
I should be able to, since he's on Twitter.
Okay, bear with us, Dean. We'll get a link to you.
Yeah. Yeah, my Twix account, I don't know if I want to change it, but I know the thing about tweets being protected, but it's mainly I've gotten so many follower requests and so many different followers. Like, who the hell are you? Like, do I know
Right.
you? So I've been on Twitter since I think '09. So it's a platform with certain features that I don't really take full advantage of, and I still don't understand. Where I used to think I like Twitter because I can get news and drivel limited to 160 characters. But little did I know that simply increasing to 288 would mean a lot. But
Right. Is that what the limit is now?
Yes, I believe 288, unless they did a recent increase I'm not aware of.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, Dean, I direct messaged the StreamYard link to you on your Twitter. So it's in a private message on your Twitter.
Oh, Kim's been up since 20 to 6 this morning. Oh dear. And she's going to be back in Scotland by 20 to 8 in the morning. So she's going to be traveling throughout the night. Oh my God. Kim, that's crazy. Wow. And I suppose that messes your whole sleep pattern up as well, because you're going to have to be probably staying awake. Well, I don't know. Can you keep on a train? I suppose it depends where it's stopping. You don't want to end up in somewhere that you weren't planning on.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, I get to share the screen with all things 80s. Cool. I was wondering what happened to him. I don't know if he wants to get into the spiel, but I was like,
Lester's going to nerd out.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember trying to remember what the last thing I saw from him. I think it was his McFarlane Batman unboxing. I think it was the McFarlane 67 Batman. It was like the Batmobile, I believe. But that was the last thing I remember watching of his.
Yeah.
I didn't get any notifications, but anyway.
I think we need to have a moment. We need a moment's silence for Kim, because she's got to she's getting home at 20 to 8 in the morning, and she's got to get home, sort herself out, and get back to the office for a 9 a.m. meeting. So commiserations, Kim. That sounds horrendous. Dean, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Very loud and clear. Very well, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
How are you doing, man?
Not at all bad, thank you. And I hope everyone else is doing well.
Yeah, we're doing very well.
Work's been keeping me busy, and that means more bonus, or I get a bonus finally.
Yeah. Good.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought.
When did you get this Lady Slither figure, Dean? I wasn't even aware of it. How did that one slip past me?
I have it right here.
Oh wow!
Well, that's her.
Tim, can you make Dean big, please, Tim?
Yeah, and she looks nice and sexy. Well, not as sexy as Princess Leia, but still sexy enough.
There we go.
This is her in, I guess, human form.
Oh wow!
Okay.
So then it's just a case of yanking her off at the torso and replacing
yanking her off at the torso.
Yeah. And she becomes the
Oh wow.
And this does actually stand up quite nicely.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Was that a deluxe? Was it a deluxe figure?
Yeah, I believe it was. And this here is all very hard, brittle plastic, although it does articulate.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good figure. Honestly, the price slips my mind, but I think maybe $30 to $40 because it comes in its own box as opposed to a card back.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely one of the more unique looking figures, especially like this.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's cool.
Well, it was done via Mattel Creations. So it's not, I don't believe it'll be available in stores.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And the worst part is when you deal with Mattel Creations, here in America, they charge about $8 shipping per order.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people buy multiples to kind of offset the shipping costs, because $8 for one figure is extortionate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
did you order yours directly from Mattel then?
yeah. In fact, that's the only place to order it was Mattel Creations.
Right. So like Big Bad Toy Store aren't getting it or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Wow. Okay.
No. It's the same with all these Mattel exclusives. You have to go direct to the source to pick them up.
Right.
Okay, so like Hasbro Pulse then.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, Kim's saying she got the sleeper train, but she didn't get a bed. Oh, well, it's not really a sleeper train then, really, is it? Well, not your bit. The bit you're in will be a stay awake
So
train.
imagine, it sounds like Kim is taking the train on a regular basis. We don't have the train culture, not like anywhere else in the world, because depending on where you go, it's almost like it's more of a vacation travel method, whereas it sounds like the train is like something people use every day in that neck of the woods. I would imagine the train fare being a little bit more cheap.
I'm really not sure. I mean, trains are pretty expensive now.
Okay.
And Kim was traveling a long way. She was traveling from London down to from Scotland down to London, I believe.
Wow. Okay.
So that's quite a long. That's a long, inexpensive journey.
It does sound that way.
Andrew,
yes.
I mean, Dean, Andrew is asking, are you going to get the Skeletor and V Skeletor that they've just announced?
No, I'm not, and I am done with Motu Origins.
Okay.
Simply because I've got every retail release and the majority of the Mattel Creations exclusives up to this point. But it's become absolutely impossible for me to get Duplico or Mossman. And I'm not going to go onto eBay to pay, 4 times the retail price.
Right.
Furthermore, once we move, I won't have access to these stores anyway. But the fact that they're going to be continuing only doing the vintage releases via Mattel Creations is very off-putting, because as I just said, each figure will be costing an additional $8 per figure. And who knows if they're going to make enough to go around, because the majority of these Mattel Creations exclusives end up going on eBay for 4 times their actual price. And the cartoon line does look nice, but I've had to draw the line, so there'll be no more Masters of the Universe for me. But as it is, I have more than enough to not only keep me happy, but to look fantastic on display. So I'm happy to be stepping back from it.
I was going to ask you what you thought of the cartoon line, because I think that looks really good. I'm quite excited for that.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. But in saying that, though, I've lost count of the number of He-Man variants that have been released up until this point. It must be getting into double figures now, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So,
Tim, are you able to get a link to Nick, please?
Yeah, I'm doing that now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Action Pop Dad is waiting. Well, he's not waiting in the wings yet, but he will soon be waiting in the wings. Gerard's saying that that in Ireland and in Britain generally, the train is a popular method of transport. Yeah. Hey.
so there's a Wild Boy Funko Pop, which now brings my Funko collection to the grand total of 12. So I've got 10 Duran Durans and a 66 Batman and Robin. That's all I need.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, they are absolutely ridiculous. They really are.
Well, unfortunately, unfortunately for you, certainly, Duran merch is very thin on the ground, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, these are the only figures, so I really had no choice if I wanted some Duran Duran figures. So
Mhm.
it is what it is, but it could be, it's not the worst thing in the world. It looked nice on display, so that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to display one wave next to another wave, or are you going to display each character next to, each member next to its
Um,
other member?
I suspect I'll have one row with the original album figures, and beneath that the Wild Boys. But obviously,
Okay.
each band member above himself. If that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I've got those. I've got some vintage cassette tapes. I've got things I've had since '84. I'll have a nice little tiny bit of Duran Duran collection on display.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, and we got Nick Action Pop Dad joining us now. So there's now
Evening, everyone.
Fab
Oh,
I
Five.
just heard Duran Duran and my ears pricked up.
Yeah.
Good evening, Nick. How you doing, man?
Evening, man. I'm good, everyone. Hi, Dean. I've
Hi.
spoken your chats before. I've never spoke to you on camera before. So
That's
hello.
true. Yeah. Good to see you. Yes.
Nice to meet you, man.
And you can see Nick
Everyone
is
good?
very tatted out on his body.
Yeah. Nick's got his tats out again.
That's totally
How's-
fine by me.
My house is so hot at the moment. It's going to be cold. It's going to be ridiculously cold in a few weeks, but at the moment, I'm just dying here. So, yeah, no. I'm glad everyone's good. Good to see you all.
Likewise.
Oh, Kim's
Sorry,
saying
I
hi,
missed
Nick.
the first hour. My missus was watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and she's just gone up to bed. So I thought I'd.
Oh,
Mm.
excellent.
Yeah, I know. She likes good shows. I can't knock it.
So what is
Yes.
this? What is this trouble that Andrew is speaking of?
I don't know.
Oh, it was something about all of this excessive inventory of product being shifted to some sort of dump, land, whatever you.
Oh, yeah, they had, what was it, 13,000 tons or something of it, or
something
however
like
much
that,
it was.
to that effect.
I
Yeah.
believe they worked out that it was cheaper to send them to landfill than it was to pay the continued cost of storage.
That's
Wow.
exactly the premise. Yep.
Because they built up far too
Unbelievable.
much stock.
Unbelievable.
Yep,
That's crazy.
that's the dynamics. A lot of retailers, and in some cases, e-tailers or electronic retail, that's the flow they have to work against, because you want to be able to supply product to customers, but then in a lot of distribution and wholesale dynamics, you have to buy that quantity so you get it at the price point you want, to make your margins manageable.
Yeah. So
And
they just
then-
weren't shifting, and they were having to bin them instead.
Exactly. And
Well,
it's
wouldn't it have been a better strategy to send them out to retailers and just give them away free to people? Wouldn't that have been a wiser marketing
it would have
move?
been, but vision isn't exactly the clearest for certain levels of leadership. I'm just saying, it's like me in my closet. I have a lot of deadweight inventory from my friend's business from a decade ago, and it's like, what do
Okay.
I do with this excessive product? I can use it, I can leverage it, but I know it's going to be at a loss. Not that I'm worried about that. It's just there's just so much to get through, and
Right.
companies go through this all the time because they're always planning however many months ahead about the next incoming products, and they need to make space for those new products. So what are they going to do? So like if you follow world-class BSers, they whatever overstock a retailer might have, they send that to a discount retailer like Ollie's as an example, which is a very select group of stores where you could buy toys on discount, massive discount. And
Right.
and sadly a lot of that doesn't move. And it's kind of humorous at the same time because we're talking about Disney, Star Wars, and other Marvel toy products that haven't moved for like a year and change, maybe more. So
Okay.
it's tragic and humorous at the same time. Yep.
Okay.
Do you think?
Andrew's saying he went to the Funko store in Hollywood. Okay. Sorry, Nick, go on.
I mean, I don't collect Funkos. Not that I have anything against them. They're just not
Sure.
never been on my radar. But from what I understand, some of them are deemed to be really expensive. But do you
Yeah.
think that they'll suffer the same fate as the Beanie Baby thing ultimately, where they've overproduced and people buy them to an excess, and then there's ultimately too much stock? So
I'm trying to remember when I last saw Funko being littered all over the place on people's desks. So, like, I worked at a call center for 5.5 years, and a lot of times, some agents would have either, Funkos. I had a dude I worked in one sector. We had cubicles, and so in our cube, one dude was playing with My Little Ponies while he was talking to a customer. Sometimes you just do what you
Hey,
do.
there's nothing wrong with My Little Ponies. Come on,
I know.
steady
I'm
on.
just saying. I'm not saying nothing wrong. I'm just saying that there was also a time when I saw Funkos all over people's desks, and I'm going,
Yeah.
that seems intriguing, but I don't know if I would be into all of that. So, it's not.
Let's do a quick survey on the panel. I know Dean's got Funkos. I have. Anyone else got any Funkos?
But Monkeyboy, the way you say that is if I'm like a fan of Funko.
Oh no
Oh.
no.
And
Like I said earlier, you get a free pass because
Yeah.
of the
I need to
properties you've
stress
chosen.
the fact that I have 12 in total, 10 of which are Duran Duran, because those are the only Duran
Yeah.
Duran figures available. The other two being Batman and Robin, I got in
Right.
Thailand because I just wanted. I was at this department store. I wanted to
Right.
buy something, just anything, and those two were the two that made it home with me. Aside from that, I have no interest whatsoever in Funko.
Right,
that's
right.
fair.
Some of
Anyone
them
else
are.
got any?
no,
I-
but I think
These were made by both as a collaboration by Funko with Super 7. These used
Okay.
monsters.
Is that Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I actually do have the Batman 66 figures, which were called Funko Reaction figures before
uh-huh.
Super 7 took over the Reaction line.
Okay.
And those are good figures.
Mm-hmm.
In actual
Yeah.
fact, they're probably better than Super 7's reactions because there are more points of articulation. And they came
Oh.
with a whole slew of accessories. 3.75-inch figures, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Reading movies has got not a Funko Pop in sight. His end. That's fair enough.
I just got up to. I can't find it. My son, he's only 9. He must have stolen it. When Tim showed that figure, I've got the. Do you remember Burger King did a line of them years ago? It was like Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Black
Yes,
Lagoon.
we did.
But just I think Dean made a valid point though about Funko. See, my missus, she was going to buy me a Lemmy Funko Pop because most of my tattoos are it's all Motorhead because I'm an idiot and I just decided to put Motorhead all over my body because I'm a favorite band. And I think Funko does for a lot of people. I think it falls into that because it's very easy if you've got someone in the family and they're a fan of Batman and Robin or they're a fan of a band. It's a nice, easy, small, compact, little displayable gift. You stick it on their desk, whatever. And I think
Yeah.
I'm trying to
there's
remember.
probably loads of people out there with Funko Pops who, like Dean, they don't necessarily collect them, but they've been gifted them, or there's that one particular piece where they can't get another item. There's no other merchandise. I think that's probably
Yeah.
I
why they
just
hit quite well.
Yeah.
let's see. I bought one each for my god kid. I have 2, so again, she's now a young adult, and then toddlerish, 8, 6, 7, 8 years old. This was when the Force Awakens came out, and so I think I'm trying to think if that was the case. Yes, it likely was. So I got a Rey and a Finn. just for
Okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, I go to these conventions and Funko's all over the place, and I think, yeah, that looks nice. That one looks nice. That one, I don't know, but I'm more intrigued by the independent figure crafters. I don't know what you would call them, but like some of my figures back there, I get them from independent folks that aren't big name, like Hasbro.
Yeah.
It's usually not on my radar. Not until I came across retro blasting back in 2020. But toy collecting wasn't my thing. The only way I got toys was through my Geek Fuel subscription from years ago. So they would come
Right.
with a figure, but I was more interested in the shirt because at least I thought a lot of the shirts were well executed, well designed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think some odd person called Kim Gonnick, I no idea who she is. She said she's got she's got one, Jack Skellington.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just make a quick?
Yeah, go on.
I'm just going to change the topic for 1 second. This is actually only the second time I have ever been on a live stream completely sober. And in fact, you may have seen me sipping some liquid here.
Okay.
I have the onset of a sore throat, so I've been drinking ginger tea. And this is a very special receptacle right here, because this was the very cup I was given as a child with Lancip, or in some cases, Robinson's orange squash with sugar and hot water. So this,
Wow.
without question, this is the oldest thing on this stream right now.
Nice.
An absolute classic.
Excellent. And is it a glass or a plastic?
Yeah, no, this is glass, and it sits in this.
Cool.
It's very 70s.
Yeah,
that a
that's wicked.
Tupperware piece.
This is actually a... What the hell does that say? Looks like Slulu from France, perhaps. But yeah, it's got it at my parents. When I went to clean out the parents' house, I saw that. I said, "Got to bring that back with me," because I remember being well as a little kid and getting all my hot drinks in this.
That's really good.
My mum used to have Tupperware parties. That was a thing, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm lucky. I still have both my parents. But when they go on, they've got so many quirky bits of Tupperware and crap, which I'm probably going to have because it's exactly that from like childhood. All these weird little devices and stuff. Yeah, Kim is going to kill me now, by the way, because I like mugged her off on camera.
Oh well.
Jason, do you mean my Funko unboxing I was doing earlier, or unboxing in general? As it is, I'm almost entirely unboxed now. I've actually been unboxing and putting things into Ziploc bags, and in some cases been selling empty boxes. Yeah.
Cool.
Although in saying that, though, you sometimes forget just how thick large parts of the population actually are. So when I list something on eBay, say, for example, which I did with the Lady Slither box, the title said, "Empty Motu Lady Slither box." The photographs depicted an empty box. The first line of the description said, "I shouldn't have to spell this out, but here we are. There is no figure or comic included with this sale," right?
Okay.
I had 3 different people make an offer that I accepted.
Okay.
And then they came back and said, oh, I need to cancel. I didn't realize there was no figure included.
Oh, goodness gracious.
3 times that happened.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It really is. And then I had another instance last week where someone won the auction and didn't pay. And after 4 days, eBay automatically cancels the sale. So he then
Okay.
writes me an angry email saying, hey, why did you cancel the sale? I said, I didn't cancel it. eBay canceled it because you didn't pay in time. He says, oh, come on, man. Not everyone's online 24 hours a day. I'm like, dude, the minute you won the auction, eBay sent you an email. If that didn't work, I sent you an invoice. And if that didn't work, I sent you a further reminder.
So I take it, at least when you run your auctions, you don't do because back in the day, it used to be if you win an auction, and I guess it's up to the seller whether to do a 7-day window in order to receive payment. Otherwise, your rule, it sounds like you need that payment once you win the auction, right?
Well, yeah. The other thing is, though, when I bid on something on eBay,
Right.
it's because I want that item, and
Yeah.
I'm so impatient. I want it now. So I pay
Yep.
literally within seconds of that auction ending, providing I'm at home and able to do so.
Absolutely.
Another guy won an auction, didn't pay. I had to relist. And then he says, oh, I'm really sorry, dude. I forgot I put a bid on your auction.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lovely.
unless he was using a sniper like I do, because I've done that before and forgotten that I'd done it. But you do get a notification. So, like you said, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to them.
No.
Right.
Not at all.
The thing that really gripes me of eBay, I don't know if it's because I don't sell a lot, but the last few times I've sold something, and it's been something sizable, like I sold a bass amp and I sold other bits and pieces. eBay will they go, oh, we're withholding your money now until whatever date
Well,
to make sure that it's
the other thing
legitimate
about
sale.
eBay is depending on what your model is as a store or seller, those listing fees will catch up to you. I don't know about you, Dean, but my buddy sold on eBay for a while, but those listing fees and whatever the rules are now, I'm sure they're a little redonkulous.
Well, nowadays, eBay is also cutting their fee off the shipping costs as well.
Okay.
Because what happened was people would list an item, buy it now for $1, and shipping, say for example, one little figure, price $1, shipping $50. And that way, the fee was only based on the $1 sale. And eBay got wise to that. So now they charge you fees on the item and the shipping.
Gotcha.
I remember buying a replica of Blade's sword from the movie Blade, and I think it was up for, it wasn't a decent one, I think it was up for about 40 quid. This was years ago, and I believe I paid something like, and it's ridiculous, I paid something like a penny for it, but I paid $39.99 postage for it, and that's exactly why eBay are doing it.
Right.
And ironically, the guy who was selling it lived in Bournemouth, and I at the time lived in Poole. And I said to the guy, I said, "Any chance I can come pick it up?" No.
That would have been good. So you say that eBay were withholding money when you sold stuff?
Yeah, so it's happened to me. I sold a pair of New Rock boots from back in the day when I was a bit gothy. I had a pair of awesome New Rock boots, and I looked after them, so I sold them, and they went for decent money. Didn't believe someone wanted a pair of second-hand boots. And they withheld the funds on that for X amount of days until the seller had confirmed they got it. And they did the same with a bass amp. They did the same with I had a wireless system for my bass amp, and I thought, well, I only ever play on small stages. I just use a wire. Sold that. They did the same. And it's just annoying because, like, you sell it, and like anyone, I post it out quick, and you just want your bloody money, don't you? Because you're at the mercy.
Do you think that's a step to protect the buyer?
Possibly, but
it's not very
what it is
for the seller, is it?
It's just frustrating. It's happened to me like 3 times, but my mother-in-law, I wonder if it's because of I don't sell a lot of stuff on there. My mother-in-law sells stuff all the time. She's forever selling things on there. She never.
Now you mention it, no, it's happening across the board, because what happens is you get the person's payment, because bearing in mind, you used to be able to accept. Well, when I was doing it in Scotland, 20 odd years ago, I would sometimes get cash in the mail or checks in the mail. And then it switched to PayPal only. But now eBay use their own payment system. And the money comes in, eBay tells you the buyer has paid, please ship, and the money will sit there in your account, but it's not available to withdraw for a couple of days. So it's pretty much the same thing that Nick's saying. It is essentially being withheld.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is a pain in the ass when they do it.
And also as well, this is an absolute shocker on my part this morning. So whilst it's good that eBay offers sellers the chance to use the global shipping program, which I also use when I sell, it's bloody expensive. So case in point, I think I discussed that on the live stream on Sunday. I was looking for a vintage Weeble that I remember having as a kid. And in my research on this subject, it transpires that Weebles in America were not the same as the Weebles in the UK. The Weebles in the UK were made by Airfix. And I knew that I needed a Weeble that was of a little boy with yellow hair and an orange base. And I could only find those ones on eBay UK. So I managed to get one for the cost. The Weeble itself was £7.50. But when transferred,
sorry, apologies.
Yeah, but when transferred into dollars, so we have the conversion to dollars, we have the New York sales tax, and then the shipping from the eBay's UK-based global shipping program. This little Weeble has cost me $43.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable.
Bonkers.
Another example
have you
is,
it now?
Sorry?
Is it only the
now?
one we?
Yeah, one Weeble. Actually, I tell a lie. It was two. There was two of them, but I don't need the dog. But yeah, there was two Weebles, and for a cost, the actual cost for the Weebles £7.50. But in the end, the transaction has cost me $43.
Wow.
Are there any particular Weebles you want? Because I see them quite frequently in charity shops. So.
Yeah, no, it was just this one particular one that I had as a kid, and I found it, and I thought $7.50 is okay. But once it was all said and done with the sales tax and the global shipping cost, extortionate.
When I was a boy, I had an inflatable Weeble. I'm guessing it was about 3 foot, maybe 4 foot high. And it was an inflatable one that had a weight in the bottom, so you could punch it about and it would wobble about.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So something I really did not need, because I have a few of them already, but I was looking at old comics again, and again another example of this cost of shipping. So from the UK, one comic is costing about $13 or $14 to ship to America.
Right.
But lo and behold, there was a seller in America with a stack of Dandies and Beanos from 1982.
Tim, can you make Dean bigger on the screen? Show me that front one, Dean. I think I had that one.
Because this one is very, very special, because I remember getting the free Thunder Bang.
Yes.
With this. I remember playing with this. And if that's not enough, the next one came with a free kazoo.
That's cute.
I also remember, because the kazoo had a little sort of tissue paper piece inside that would vibrate when you blew through it. And I remember, I guess as a kid, I was quite sloppy, and this thing got just covered in saliva. And I remember my dad taking some tissue paper and fixing it for me. So it was nice to see these. But I got a stack. I think there's 4 Dandies and 9 Beanos, all from 82. But one thing that really does surprise me, there are no staples. I always assumed that these were stapled, but no, not at all. They're just sort of held together by the fact they've been folded quite well.
Really?
Yeah. But 10p. What a bargain.
Fantastic.
In my mum and dad's loft. Sorry.
Go on, Nick. You're right.
Oh, no, it's nothing. I was just saying, my mum and dad's loft. Mum and dad I used to collect the Beano and Dandy when I was a kid in the 90s, but my old man was a driving instructor, and one of his pupils he taught gave him a literal massive box of old Beanos and Dandies from that era. They're still up in Mum and Dad's loft. They're like, my old man's asked me to go and clear them a few times. Do you want them? Like, it's like, yeah, keep them in your loft, 'cause then they're not in my loft. But yeah, I never thought that people would be buying those up. But yeah, no, it's
Oh yeah.
Beano and Dandy. I can remember every week. The thing that used to upset me the most about it was they used to always, like, you get like a drumstick or a fresher bar on the front, and they bloody sellotape it to the front, and you try and get that off without ripping the front page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I never had many of the actual full-size comics. I had a lot of those. Do you remember they were called comic libraries, and Dandy and Beano both did them, but they were very small, like A5 size books.
Yep, I've got a few of those actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got loads of those. I used to get that because I think the comics came out every week the comics came out, but the comic libraries came out I think you got 2 a month or.
Yeah. Dandy was
like
every Tuesday and Beano was every Thursday.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, the comic libraries then came out I think once a month, or maybe you got a Dandy and a Beano in the month. I'm not sure. Maybe it was fortnightly. I don't remember. But I actually I don't remember where I got any of them from. I just seem to have accumulated, about, I don't know, 100 of them. And I really don't know where they came from. I don't know if they were available in the newsagents or where, but
oh yeah, absolutely. Well, these ones here were all belonged to someone called Fisher, and I suspect the newsagent would have reserved these each week for that person, because you could always put a note in with a newsagent to reserve your favorite publications, and they would just set it aside.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of the real Ghostbusters comics, because I used to read those as a kid, and they were put aside for me by the newsagents. So they've all got my surname written at the top of on the front cover.
Yeah, and don't forget as well, with Dandy and Beano, you also had the wonderful summer specials. They were and they actually may have had a glossy cover on those ones, as opposed to the newsprint.
I think they did. They used to come out, as you said, they had the glossy cover, and the inside was more matte. And yeah, you used to get each version. Beano and Dandy had them. But it's funny you saying about the name written on there, because if I go back through some of my old ones in Mum and Dad's loft, I'm sure that there's Mike B written in pencil or biro on the top of quite a few of them, because the old man used to reserve them every week. I mean, the reason he used to buy them for me every week wasn't because I enjoyed them. It's clearly because he wanted to read them. It's I do the same now, having a son. It's fantastic. Anything I want, it's like, oh, you really do want that Playmobil Ghostbusters set, don't you, for Christmas? Yeah, Dad, that's great.
Johnny Sorensen saying he used to read Whizzer and Chips. Yeah, I used to get that as well. Yeah, good old Whizzer and Chips. And there was another one. Was it Buster?
It was Buster. There was Topper as well.
I can remember my sister's about 6. My older sister's about 6 years older than me, and I can remember her boyfriend at the time, a mush called Lee, and he used to have long hair, always wore cut off t-shirts with Metallica on. I used to think he was the coolest guy ever, right? And he used to drive around in a beat up little yellow Mini, and I can remember him giving me a copy of Viz when I was a kid. And I don't know if you got, obviously it's not for kids, but it's like the adults, Beano or Dandy. I can remember my mind blown by that. I was like, this is amazing.
I used to always make a point of buying a copy of Viz at Edinburgh Airport when coming back to America. And there was one instance where I was sitting on the plane next to a stranger, and I was reading my copy of Viz and was, visibly in tears with laughter. And I just knew the person was wondering, what the hell is this guy reading? But I was kind of reading it like this because I didn't want them to see what I was reading, because some of the comics were a bit, out there as far as public consumption was concerned.
I can remember one of the stories in the copy I was given. I remember it really vividly, the artwork in it. I don't remember the character, but the man gave this male character. He was a nerdy guy with glasses, and he gave birth, but obviously he gave birth out of a different body part. Really, I could just. I mean, the discovery of Viz, and then this Lee geezer put me onto Beavis and Butthead as well. He used to bring me around VHSs of Beavis and Butthead. He recorded off of MTV. God, that's where, good old days. I do miss discovering all the naughty stuff. You know, when you're like an innocent kid and you've got like an 18, 19-year-old like corrupting man. Like, here, read Viz, watch this.
There was one
album.
I have one little image of Viz stuck in my head, and the premise was that the character's wife's aunt was a baker, and the aunt was called Fanny. and the guy in the cartoon says to someone, "Oh yes, my wife's Fanny makes the best batter."
Was it Viz that had the character in it who he'd always say that they're not taking me alive, and he'd always end up like, you know, shooting himself or something over something really daft. It was like a recurring thing in it. It's just some of the stuff, and there was the two. I'm not sure. It's Tim Streams. Don't want to say it, but there were the two fat ladies were just saying, "Is that Viz as well?"
Oh yeah.
They actually made a film about those a few years ago, if I recall. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Keep on Collecting's popped in. He's saying hello to us all.
Oh, hello.
Thank you. Keep on Collecting. Hello to you, sir. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know what the time in Australia is right now, Jason. Pass.
It's well, in Adelaide, it's 8 a.m.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
It still blows my. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was just going to say, being a small-minded, not very travelled Brit, it always blows my mind. Obviously, it makes sense that these massive countries like your country you're living in, Dean, and Australia have different time zones. But I'm like, must get confusing as hell. Well, you know, here is the time is the time, isn't it?
Well, believe it or not, I only just found out a few months ago that Australia has 30-minute time zones. Because, you know, right now New York is 5:37 p.m., but Adelaide is 8:07 a.m.
Right.
So that becomes very difficult to arrange things when dealing with people in Australia.
Wow, I never knew there was 30-minute.
Yeah, I didn't know that until, because that's when Ed5 had me on his stream, and I couldn't understand why he was giving me I guess in Thailand it was something like 6:30 p.m. and he kept on saying, "Yeah, we're going live at 8." I'm like, "Well, what's this 30 part?" He goes, "Oh, didn't you know we have 30-minute time zones?"
What I find quite difficult to wrap my head around is I understand that time zones, you've got one time zone and then next to it you've got a different time zone, but what happens on the border? Because if you're on the border of that time zone, you could literally take one step and go back in time.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? Or am I just being...
No.
I'm right, aren't I?
Absolutely, yeah. There has to be a cutoff point somewhere.
I mean, you could be standing facing someone else and you could say, "What time is it?" And they've got an hour or half an hour in this case difference to you, and yet they're standing feet away from you.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's weird. That's interesting because
at the Hoover Dam, and not time zone related, but I was just being able to take one step into one state to the other. I mean, then you're introducing time travel into it with other states. That's crazy.
So I don't know about you guys over in the UK, but at least in the States, particularly among the zip codes, that there, depending on what zip code you find yourself in, you're I don't know if UK has a sales tax. I would imagine you guys do, but it's funny when
you just have VAT on everything.
Well,
not everything, but most things.
but basically, you can go from one zip code to another, and you'll find yourself paying much less sales tax, or you might not pay any sales tax depending on the items you're going to buy. So I don't know if you guys have that dynamic over there, but
No, we get charged VAT for most stuff, like Nick said.
But what I like about the UK and also Thailand with the VAT is the price you see is the price you pay. So for small items, say like a can of Coke, if you have the change in your pocket, you can count out that change and hand it to the shopkeeper, and that's it. But in America, you can't do that because the price you see on the ticket
is not what you're going to
include
pay.
sales tax.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Walmart.
Well, the other thing too is like at least in America, and particularly depending on the state, like if you buy a bottle of soda or anything that's bottled, plastic or glass, you pay a deposit.
Yeah.
And depending on what state you're in, you're either paying 5 cents or 10 cents per bottle. So you go to the store and you look at a bottle, a 6-pack of like a beer. Like that's probably, at least in my town, you see the sticker price and then you have to multiply 10 by 6 and then you add that 60 cents. So you're paying 60 more cents for that 6-pack. Which is,
see, when I walk into Tesco on a Friday night, I don't have a drink for October. Bloody hate it. But when I walk into Tesco on a Friday night to buy my beer Moret and my San Miguel, creature of habit me, I see what it says on the shelf and that's it. There's no messing. I like it. There's no messing about.
Yeah.
$2.75 a bottle, I think, at the moment.
oh,
bloody hell! What for a 330 ml bottle?
No, 660.
Oh, okay. Right. I mean, it's still still quite expensive.
I like the big bottles. I love the big bottles and stuff because I don't know. You just get more, don't you? This is really weird. Not to go too off topic, but if they haven't got the 660 bottles in, and I have to buy like a pack of the 330 bottles, it's never as satisfying drinking 6 of those as it is drinking 3 of the big bottles, and it's the exact same amount.
Oh, absolutely. I agree entirely. Fortunately, Thailand is very much like the UK with regards to the metric system and things. So they do the 660s. And there's no question that a 660 seems to last longer than 2 330s, even though I drink at the same speed. I'm absolutely speeding through these small bottles. But if I have a big bottle, it seems to last me longer. I don't know how. It must be in there somehow.
So here's a question for me. If you can only drink one brand of beer for the rest of your life, which would it be?
I think I know my answer.
No, I mean, I think I would say the Thai Leo.
Okay.
I did. That's nice. I've had that.
Yeah.
I think I've had that. Is that the one with the white and red label on it?
Yeah, like this.
okay.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm sure I've had that.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one beer for the rest of my life, only one beer, I probably, as much as I prefer it's going to make me sound terrible, but as much as I prefer the flavour of beer Moret, I like the strength of, it's only slightly stronger, but I like San Miguel because beer Moret used to be slightly stronger. And when it suddenly ramped up and got popular, they knocked like 0.5% off of the strength of it. And I don't think it's ever tasted quite the same.
I mean, I'll put my hand up and say that I don't actually drink beer for the taste.
Okay.
I drink it for the effects.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite.
Fair, dude,
I only drink beer that I like the taste of because I don't enjoy being drunk. As soon as I start to feel that I'm drunk, I'm getting drunk, I stop because I don't like it. I've been out of my face enough times and been very, very ill. I was hospitalised on one occasion, and after that occasion, I said I'm never getting drunk again.
No, I
Um,
get you. I get you. And
my
I
missus
don't know.
bought.
I don't know if it's a matter of effect, but I just like this aura of just relaxing and tying with the phrase. At least here in the States, we say we're going to have a cold one, especially if you have a long work day.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of. I don't know if that's what I'm looking for in terms of effect. Not to directly answer the question, I've gotten into darker beers over the years. Didn't mean to rhyme. Um, I like my I like a good stout or porter. If I had to choose one, Guinness Guinness would be my go-to.
I don't trust Guinness because the
I have
bubbles
to
go the
say,
wrong way.
I've got a little story about Guinness. Well, there's two things that I tried in America that I drink in the UK frequently. I'm ever
Okay,
so sorry, but your Guinness in the States
Oh
is
no.
terrible,
I'm
and so
sure.
is your Newcastle Brown Ale. But
I'm sure.
my missus bought me the other day because I take October off, and
Okay,
this truth to what Dean was saying. She brought me a 4-pack of this Guinness 00 because obviously I don't drink through October.
okay.
Just to give myself, I had to take 2 months off of drinking a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I said to her, as much as this 00 does taste very close to Guinness. It's alcohol free is
Oh,
never the same. I said,
okay.
but what I don't like about it is I've had 3 cans and there's no beer buzz. Now, we all know
Right.
what I mean by
Oh
the
yeah.
beer buzz, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
'Cause that's why we drink, mate. It's the buzz, isn't it? Really, you
course
get that
it is.
little. It
yeah.
takes
Well,
that little edge off, doesn't it?
Well, you see, the thing about alcohol is when you're having a bad time, it makes you feel better. And when you're having a good time, it makes you feel even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go with that. I can
Yeah.
go with that.
But with regards to the Guinness, I've had Guinness multiple times here, and it's fine. But when we were
Mhm.
coming back from Scotland 4 years ago, it was on Aer Lingus, and we transferred in Dublin. Had the Guinness there, it's like night and day. It's just entirely different.
Right.
I went to Dublin and then not 3 weeks later, then went to America and then had American Guinness, and I was like, oh no.
No,
'Cause
tails.
I was
I'm
literally
sure. I'm sure.
having
Tails.
Guinness at the Guinness storehouse, and then I was in. I think the Guinness I had was in Vegas,
Okay.
and I was like, oh, that's not. It was in an Irish themed bar that felt about as Irish as I don't. It wasn't anything
Yeah,
like an Irish bar.
I get it. I get it.
I mean, not
Okay.
knocking. It's like anything. If you go abroad, if you go to like an English themed bar in Spain or something, it don't feel like an English bar.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
you're only ever going to get the full effect
So
in.
I will ask my Euro co-conspirators: beer temperature, room, cold. What? How do you normally enjoy the beer? Because at
Depends
least
on the beer.
what was that?
Depends on the beer.
Okay, all right, I can go with that.
No,
Some of it is supposed to be enjoyed at room temperature.
Okay,
I must say I prefer cold. I
Okay.
prefer it cold.
yeah,
All right.
I've actually adopted the Thai method of putting ice in the beer now. It has to be ice cold.
My friend
Oh,
does that all the time. All the time.
Yeah, my buddy, when we go to like the local convenience store to get a 6-pack or whatever, the quick thing he would do, stick the beer in the freezer just for a little bit of time to,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess. So,
Actually,
I do that.
in Thailand, there was one bar in the north in Chiang Mai, and their
Okay.
whole shtick was they would sell frozen Leo, which was basically the big 660 bottles of Leo in a freezer for however long, and
okay.
and the barmaids would come out and pour them into the mugs, but because it's like a slushy, they had to sort of take it out. And I found the motion of them sort of doing this to be quite entertaining somehow. I don't know why, but I just no.
It's interesting you say that because this year, or it might have been last year, I discovered that if I take a bottle of beer and I put it in the freezer and leave it in there for a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, come back and take the bottle out of the freezer. If I tip the bottle, I can see that it's liquid inside still.
Hmm.
But the
Yeah.
minute you open the cap, it flash freezes and goes slushy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I found that's a really nice thing in the summer. I put a few bottles of Coors Light in the freezer, come back a couple of hours later, open it up, pop the cap off, and it goes slushy, and then I've got a nice beer slushy, and it's really refreshing. I like that.
Yeah.
Just don't ever make
Interesting.
the mistake of leaving them in overnight.
Oh
am
yeah,
intrigued-
yeah. I've made that mistake before.
Yeah.
That's messy.
Yeah.
It explodes. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I am intrigued because you said Coors Light. So my growing up as a kid, that was like my dad and his friends go to, and being where I'm at, I've become both a coffee, tea, and beer snob. Okay, that's kind of like the Pacific Northwest rep in terms of like cuisine and drinks. But I really wonder, one, is it more expensive to purchase Coors Light where you're at? And I do wonder if it tastes any different or better than.
Yeah, I don't know. I do. Yeah,
Well,
I'm not sure. It's not very
Um,
expensive here. I always
I-
buy it when it's on offer.
It's not
I
Just
pricey here.
a quick hello to Lax Sivrak. Hi, dude. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it.
I found it quite amusing when I was in Scotland 4 years ago because the supermarket had Coors Light sort of advertised as some sort of fancy import beer.
Okay. Oh,
Oh.
all right.
Yeah. And
I
actually,
really like it. I really
yeah,
like it.
honestly, it tasted the same.
I still like a
Mm,
McEwen.
okay. All right.
Oh yeah, nice McEwen. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I haven't had that in
Oh, yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I remember Double Diamond. Do you remember Double Diamond,
Yeah,
Dean?
No, I don't remember that, but one that I do remember quite fondly was Sweetheart Stout.
Oh
You don't remember that?
no.
That was something that there used to be a drink called a Black and Tan, which was half lager,
Yeah.
half Sweetheart Stout. And
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
but the Sweetheart Stout is genuinely sweet. It's barely one step above a soda. So I again back in Scotland, I said I've got to try this because I remember my grandfather drinking it. So I got myself a bottle of that, tried it straight. Oh my God, that is extremely sweet. Then got a can of Tennant's Lager, pint glass, half and half. It was quite good
Okay.
actually. Yeah.
oh.
I find
Oh, Lax
When I was in
Sivrak
America-
behind his black and tans.
well, my
Sorry, Nick.
granddad used to do that. No, I was just thinking back. It's been like 11 years this year since we've been to the States. And this is the reputation of the Brits when we go abroad, right? So I'll get to the story quick. Anyway, I'm going up in the lift to my room, and there's a broken button on the lift, and I catch my nail on it. So I go down to reception. I just say to him, "Look, just so you know, there's a broken button in the lift. Are you okay,
Uh-huh.
sir? Do you need medical attention?" "No, I don't need medical attention. I've just split my nail a bit." And they were like really apologetic. Like, I'm like, seriously, it's fine. So they offered us free food, free drinks. Didn't want it. So anyway, I agreed to have a few free drinks. Fine. Suing culture, whatever. I only told him. I just said to him, "Look, my missus, her nails are long. If she'd have done it, she'd have probably like been upset that she split her nail. Like, but I'm just a bloke, like my nails anyway." Anyway, so I went down to the bar, and I was staying at the downtown Sheraton in LA, just by the Staples Center.
hmm
I went up to the bar, and there was like this American guy there, as I would be. I was in America, and just said to the barman, "I'll have whatever I was drinking. I'll have a beer." And this American guy started talking to me, and he whips out his business expenses card, starts bragging about how he can put whatever he wants on this card through the business expense. "Do I want a drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll have a drink."
Oh goodness.
And the barman said to him, like, we were drinking, and he was like, "Oh, should we get some shots in or whatever to go with the beer?" I'm like, "Fine." And the barman said to him, "Mate, don't drink with an Englishman." I'm like, "What are you trying to say about us?" Anyway, this poor bloke did get absolutely trolleyed, bless him, because we were doing. He picked a vodka chaser to go with the beers we were drinking, which was fine.
All right.
I did find that. I don't know. Is it true that state to state they changed the strength of the beers? Because I did find that there wasn't. I'm sure you have got strong beers out there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it all
I didn't
depends
come
on
across any strong ones.
depends on the brand, the brewery. You know, We have so many. I don't know, because at least learning what I'm knowing as far as brands and subsidiaries of those brands, like Anheuser-Busch, people think they do only this, but apparently they have many brands underneath a conglomerate. Like you would think it's a local brand, but apparently it's being footed by a parent company. So it all
Oh,
depends on the brand and what they mark on the alcohol, or what they call what is it, the ABV, alcohol by volume.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
it can vary. Like some beers will have 4, some beers will be 10. So it's like you got to find the right one, I guess. That's just my experience.
We
I
had
know
a
they all
go on,
Oh,
man.
was it?
no, sure. I know they all all different beers vary, but I think I'm pretty sure, if I recall, even when I was in the States, I'm sure the Newcastle Brown Ale I looked at the back of the tech, and it was weird to me because it came in like a little 330 bottle, and they're normally in a slightly bigger bottle over here.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember
I'm
looking
sure
at the
they're
back
about
and saying,
500 mils here. I think.
"Yeah, they are 500 ml. I'm sure you're right." And I remember saying to my now ex brother-in-law at the time, I was like, "This isn't as strong as what we have at home, as in like
Yeah,
the volume of it
Yeah.
yeah. I
of
used to drink
alcohol."
that all the time. I was a skinhead when I was in my early 20s, and I used to drink Nuki Brown all the time.
Mm.
Lovely. But then I had it a number of years ago, and I didn't like it as much. I'm not sure. I don't know if they changed it or what, but it just didn't seem the same. Maybe my taste had changed by then. I didn't
Mm.
enjoy it nearly as much, but I used to drink that a lot. It was always
I
always a
think
few bottles of Nuki Brown.
tastes do change. I used to drink Red Stripe all the time.
Oh
Have you ever
yeah,
had
that's
that?
nice. Yeah, that's
I
nice.
I used to drink that all the time, and we played a music festival just before COVID, and because we played, it was sweet. So we got like they give us like passes to like this bar, and we could we couldn't drink unlimited, but we were given like festival vouchers for all our food and drink for the day.
Yeah.
And one of the drinks I had behind there was Red Stripe, and I had a couple of cans on stage, much
Mm.
to a very prudish guitarist's dismay, because it was 11 in the morning and I was drinking. Oh no, at a gig, you know. Um, and I remember drinking on stage thinking, oh, I don't. It wasn't unpleasant, but it didn't quite have the same. You know, when you drink something like you're saying, you had your Newcastle Brown Ale, and it didn't sit with you as well. I used to drink
Yeah.
that used to go to like a rock club in and Poole or Bournemouth, and that was one of and they served it to you in the can, and that's I used to drink it all the time. I used to just go through it like water. It was lovely.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
We had a pub in Norwich that was doing Red Stripe on tap, and that was really nice. That was
Oh,
nicer than it was in the
okay.
can. Um, yeah. What else? I used to drink Stella as well, but I can't touch that now.
Oh.
Interestingly enough, about Stella, when we came back from Thailand, we were using Royal Jordanian Airlines and we were transferring in Amman, Jordan. And I
Okay.
was worried about the sort of alcohol situation there. I needn't have worried. There was a bar there with a European bartender, and they only had Stella on tap. So that was
Oh,
probably the first time I've had that. And it was all right. You know, it wasn't great, but it served its purpose.
it's a weird
yeah,
one, Stella, isn't it? Because it
Yeah,
carries such negative connotations with
yeah,
its nickname being wife
yeah,
beater.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But like, I've drunk Stella on several occasions. I don't become violent on alcohol. If I get drunk, I'm a slightly different drunk. If drunk on spirits to beer, I don't know
yeah,
why.
yeah,
I'm not I'm I'm not unpleasant on any of them. You know, I think everyone can drink to a point where they become an arse.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you know, if you're not going too mental, I don't find people go, "Oh, if you drink Stella, it makes you go mad." No, it really doesn't. Absolutely
No.
not. If you
I'm
drink a lot of
worse on
Stella,
beer than I
you
am
have a
on
bad
on
headache.
spirit. Yeah. I can't drink beer in any great volume. You know, four cans of Stella, and I'm probably going to do something ridiculous.
Mhm.
And yet I can drink spirits all night, particularly something like Jack Daniels. I mean, I remember in my sort of early to mid 20s, I could drink Jack Daniels all night, and it wouldn't touch me. I'd be absolutely fine. You wouldn't know that I'd drunk any. You could smell it on me, but other than
Right.
that, by my behaviour and my speech and and walking and stuff, you would have no idea that I'd been drinking Jack Daniels all night. And
Well,
yet I would have a
Weird.
couple of pints and I'd be on my arse.
I find it weird with drinking as well. I think last time we had a day session was when we were in Dublin again, and I tend to find if I go out, if you go out 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night and you drink until about 11, 12 o'clock, you're because the volume you're banging down, because you know what it's like. If you get if the first one goes down well, then that's it, isn't it? But I tend to find that if I like start, I don't know, around midday and was to go till midnight, I'm not saying I'm not drunk. Clearly, I'm drunk, and as you say, you can smell it on me. But if I if you pace yourself on it, it's
yeah.
like it doesn't. I don't tend to find I get as wobbly as when I go to the pub for like 3 or 4 hours and drink a load. You know, it
Right.
just seem to
Yeah.
personally cope with it a bit better. But then I think the days of day sessions are sort of gone. Now we've got the nipper and everything. I don't often get the opportunity to go out with the lads and all that stuff anymore because we've all got kids and we've all become boring. So that's the truth of it.
There was a comment from our host Tim a little while ago, saying that he doesn't really get on with beer and or alcohol particularly. Is that right, Tim? Tell us, when was the last time you had a drink?
Oh shoot! I'm gonna here mute that.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, I just haven't had alcohol in years. I think it was sometime after I had to be back on antidepressants. I stopped drinking anymore.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. Okay.
No, I get it. As far as the spirits not doing stuff to people, I found through like this paleo forum that they linked a digital copy of an 1800s cookbook, and they spell out that rum is one of those drinks that don't raise your blood sugar, and that was one of the driving reasons why I started drinking more spirits as opposed to beer, because I thought all beer tasted the same at that time. So until until my brother introduced me to better beer, I was pretty much rum, scotch, whiskey. You know,
Right.
Something Tim's.
Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. You can't carry on your point, man. It's all good. It's all good.
No, it's just something that I just had that thought in my mind because I didn't have good beer, and it goes back, I guess, to Dean's point about you drinking for the effect. But for me, it's just, I had a long day at work, and I'm gonna relax with a shot of rum. I'm not gonna be like crazy about it. It's just, I'll do a couple shots, and I'll be good for the night. But just a way to like relax and diffuse.
Right, I'm going to go and drain the weasel because I'm diabetic and I can't hold my pee very well. So I'm going to do that now.
Please go to the bathroom now.
If I get back and you're all naked, I will have questions.
I mean, why do you say these things? You just tempt fate, don't you? But no, something Tim said about antidepressants and beer. So I don't care saying it. I was on them for years. I've had to stop taking them. They were killing. I swear to God, the antidepressants and stroke. They were killing me. I swear to God, they messed me up so bad. So I've been off of them now for over a year. Horrible coming off of them, but sometimes you got to do it, haven't you?
Well, Nick,
And
I can sympathise with you right there, because I did the very same thing, coming up for 5 years now. I was on a lot of antidepressants, and they actually almost did kill me. They raised my cholesterol levels to a very dangerous point. If that wasn't bad enough, I spent my whole days as basically a zombie.
I felt like I had blinkers on when I was on them all the time. Everything felt wrong.
Everything was wrong, but on the weekends, I would literally wake up at 10, have some breakfast, go back to bed, wake up at 3, take a shower, have dinner, go to bed at 10, and then repeat the process on the Sunday. So getting up during the week was just torture, and trying to stay awake was torture.
Do they allow you to negotiate dosage if you think that antidepressant is going to affect you that much?
Well, here's the thing. Not really. Now, the psychiatrists here are in bed with the big pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, just like here, huh? Okay.
It's in their best interest to keep prescribing. And I would say, look, this is not doing me any good. No, keep taking. So in the end, I had to quit cold turkey because one of the medicines I had was an extended release, which you cannot cut that pill because it's the coating that gives it its extended release. And if you cut an extended release pill, you're going to either get too much or too little at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I did the whole cold turkey thing, and it took me 6 weeks to physically feel okay again after that.
Oh, gee, okay.
And
that is,
yeah. But the worst part of this is one of the pills I was given, which they call here Seroquel, is actually given to people who suffer with insomnia. And as a result of quitting, and we're talking 5 years now, I still have to take a sleep aid in order to sleep. If I don't, I just will not sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
so I can completely relate to that story.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic hit, I went to the doctors and I said, look, these tablets I'm on, mate, I said, they're effing me up badly.
Okay.
I said, they're not good for me at all. And he was like, well, we're going through a pandemic. I wouldn't advise coming off of them. And then the pandemic passed and everything. And I was just gaining so much weight. I'm now trying to get some of the weight off I gained from it because I did have a massive weight. Once upon a time, I was 22 stone, lost a load of weight. Another story, but I was gaining weight on them. And it wasn't until just coming up a year ago, so it's not quite been a year. I went to the doctors. It was a young female doctor, and I said to her, look, things are starting to not work now. I'm not taking these. I've stopped cold turkey. Everything's coming back to normal, but I feel like crap. So I'm sweating. I'm having horrible. She said, well, that's because you stopped cold turkey. And she was the first doctor I spoke to who said, although she didn't agree with how I stopped them, I should have weaned myself off. She agreed that the amount of time I was on them was ludicrous and I should never have been on them as long as I was. She was like, and they messed up my sleep patterns.
Yeah.
My motivation didn't exist at all. I just never had any, I just didn't want to do anything. I felt blinkered. Don't get me wrong. Do what you want. If you need to take them, fine. I am not a doctor. I do not offer medical advice. I can only talk from my experiences. But my personal experience was, I swear to God, these things were making me just get fatter and fatter and worse. And if I drank on them, I had 0 to no alcohol tolerance. They were just horrible. So I don't know if any of that resonates with yourself, Dean, but from what you were saying, you were similar things. Everyone's
100%.
experience is different, but
100%.
no, they just wanted to keep me on them. And it was actually a friend. He said to me, you've got to get off of these, because I sort of had a sort of heart to heart with my mate. I was like, I can't take these anymore. I was getting really down about it, and I'm taking pills to bring me up, but I'm down because they're literally messing my body up.
Do you think it's because of a misdiagnosis? Because I often find, at least as a having worked tech support, I often find so many times in instances where people are misdiagnosed, which leads to mistreatment, and you wonder why people end up in certain.
In my instance, depression, anxiety has always been a very real thing.
Sure.
I'm not going to go into the full details of how I ended up taking them. It's just a boring story, and it's one of those things which is just, I don't mind saying I've been on them, because literally so many people are on them. My only fear for people is, and in my experience of people I know several people who have been put on antidepressants, and I'm not a doctor, but I thought to myself, is that the best option for you? Because if you're going to end up taking these long term, I think the long term effects are going to, I think I just feel in my own experience that sometimes doctors are very quick to go, take these.
Right.
It's just my experience.
No.
Yeah.
No, I come at
The problem.
I go at it from a different perspective, just because every time I went to the doctor for any kind of ailment, they would say, all right, get plenty of rest and drink plenty of fluids. Okay, whatever that means. And that's all I've done for most of my life, is like if I get a headache or something, I just take the appropriate medicine until I feel like I'm normal.
I think the unfortunate side of anxiety and depression is, if you are a person who suffers with it, I'm speaking from my experience,
Sure.
I think you have to accept that you are a person who will always suffer with it. And then that's when you're going to work out how to navigate it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had feelings like that, Dean. I'm not.
No, I mean, okay, even though I'm medication free for 5 years, I still contend with the same issues that had me on medication in the first instance. But now I'm fully aware that pills are not the answer. And every time I've fallen into a dark place, I've realized that it's temporary, and just, accept that these things happen. And sometimes it's only a day or two, sometimes it's a week or two. I come out the other end feeling so much better,
right,
not taking any of that poison. But the best part is, though, with not taking the medicine, I'm not suffering from the drowsiness, the increased appetite, the lack of desire to do anything.
Right.
I'm still able to live my life. Sure, there are dark clouds overhead, but like I said, I'm fully aware that give it time and they finally dissipate and things do look brighter again.
Sure.
I completely agree with that. I think I can normally tell. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but I almost get a feeling when I know that I'm about to drop off for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even explain how I know, but I don't know. And then you drop off, and then the best way I can describe it is it's like sailing into a storm. You're just gonna have to weather it. That's what I have to weather it, because, like you say, that those bloody tablets they had me on. Oh yeah, as you say, the cotton mouth. I don't know if you ever had that, the dry mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
and actually, as a result of that, one of the many side effects was the dry mouth. And then I go to the dentist for regular checkups, and they put me on special mouthwash to sort of, so it's like, but bearing in mind, though, in America, every bit of medication, whatever, it costs money.
Yeah.
And it's just way too much. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the fact is, what also really did piss me off was I had to see this psychiatrist once. It used to be every 2 weeks, and I managed to get it down to once a month. But I would literally be in her office for about 90 seconds while she filled out a new prescription. and I would make my $50 copay. I would then look at the insurance statements, and she was taking my $50 and billing them $180 for 90 seconds worth of work.
Mhm.
Unbelievable. But then again, I am of the opinion that psychiatrists do get some kickback each time they prescribe a certain medication. So it's in their interests financially to keep pumping that stuff out.
But it's the same with antidepressants in the UK.
Yeah.
They get, I'm sure the drug companies are giving GPs kickbacks for prescribing antidepressants because they can't get you out the door quick enough with a prescription for antidepressants.
Yeah.
And I've been on them for years now.
I know people who have gone in with very minor, and I don't want to put, like, everyone's situation is different. Sorry to cut you off there, Dave. I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
I know people who have gone in, and it's all relative to everyone. You can never, you can't dismiss anyone's feeling low because everyone is different and everyone experiences things different. But I know someone very, very close to me who went to the doctors a year ago, and he come out and he's still taking sertraline, and it's like,
oh yeah,
I don't, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really say to him, but I sort of tried to friendly say, is there anything else you can do to get over that spot? Because this drug that you're taking, I mean, you're going to take it. It's been like a year now. It's a long time to come off of it. And to TMI, but I had a friend who took antidepressants for so long that now, if ever he wants to do anything manly with his wife, he has to pop a blue pill because it actually destroyed that function in his body.
Well, the medication that I was put on. Sorry, Nick.
Oh no, I'm good, man. I'm drinking one of my wife's alcohol-free Copperbergs because it looked more appealing than the Diet Coke.
Now, one of the medications that I was put on after I became unwell actually completely wrecked my pancreas. So it actually gave me diabetes.
Oh, geez.
I remember when I was hospitalized about a year ago, or maybe a couple. I can't remember how long I've been diabetic now, but I was sent to hospital because I was particularly unwell, and they said, "Yeah, you've got diabetes, type 1." And I said, "Well, okay," but I wasn't overweight. I wasn't eating particularly badly. And they said, "Are you taking any medications?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm on quite a few actually." And they got me to list the medications that I was on, and I got to this particular one, and they said, "Yep, that'll be that then." And I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "That's what's done it." So something that I was prescribed for my mental health has now wrecked my pancreas for life.
Oh,
so
great.
I'll be taking insulin every day for the rest of my life now.
So messed up
because of that. And I guess they could say, it was in the small print. You should have read the side effects. But with many of these medications, if you read the side effects, you would never take anything. At some point you've got to say, well, do I want to have another psychotic episode? Do I want to lose my mind again? Not really. So I'll take these antipsychotics and these other medications to keep me stable through a very difficult period of my life. And then it's too late, and there's no going back. Once your pancreas is effed, that's the end of it. It doesn't get better again. So it's not as if I can come off that medication and then I'll be okay again. No, it's knackered me.
That's messed up, man. I mean, I can remember. I don't mind sharing the conversation I had when the thing is, doctors are doctors. I don't want to knock my doctors, but the doctors who put me on it were much older people, I'm not saying that's why, but when I saw this young female doctor, what she said to me was, I only prescribe these to people for the short term. If someone's having an episode, whatever, and I normally would put in place a plan to get you on it, bring you to a level, and then wean you off of them.
Right.
She's like,
Yeah.
I would never want anyone to be on them for the number of years you've been on these, because that just leads to potential long-term problems. And it's like, and I'm thinking, well, everything you're saying is completely different to what the other doctors said. The other doctors were literally like, no, keep taking them. And
Yeah.
well, and all right, maybe I shouldn't have gone cold turkey. I mean, Dean said he went cold turkey. It's rough, isn't it, man, when you come off them, isn't it?
No, that was absolute torture, and it was 6 weeks of torture as well. Just horrendous. And
I've never felt so bad in my whole life as that.
I mean, some people have said it's easier to quit heroin than it is to quit certain antidepressants, and I imagine that could well be true given what I've been through.
Right.
Absolutely. But what makes me so angry is I was saying, every month, look, can we stop these, please? No, you must keep taking them. They just didn't listen to me. So that's why I took it into my own hands.
Yeah. Well, last time in fact, this last few times I've had a medication review, the doctor or the psychiatrist has said to me, what do you feel needs, do you feel that you need to stop anything or increase anything? And I'm like, what chair are you sitting in, mate?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be telling me, and they're saying to me, do you think you need to come off one of your drugs? I was like, I don't know. I'm taking so many, I've got no idea.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we don't think it's safe for you to mess about with your medication at the current time. And I'm like, well, okay, fair enough, but why ask me? I'm not the one that's got all the training.
Imagine if I came to your house to plaster your ceiling, for example, and I'm putting the plaster on, and I say to you, Dave, do you think I should put a bit more on over there? What do you think? If I'm the professional in the situation, right? I wouldn't ask my customer, what do you think I should do it this way? So if you're sat in a doctor's surgery and they're saying, what do you think? I think you went to university for many years and you earn a nice amount of money and you're a very learned person, and I'm just a lay person in the situation. You should flipping advise me.
Yeah. But I was never, and I hold my hands up. I didn't read all the small print. I didn't read all the side effects on the medication that I'm taking. But at no point did anyone say to me, just so you're aware, this medication is known to cause diabetes. Do you want to keep taking it? Because I probably would have said,
and they can get sued. They could get sued if something happened, where if they're not telling you things, and if you were suicidal and you told them, "Oh, I'm going to go kill myself," and you go kill yourself, they could be sued and lose their medical license. So there's liability
in the UK, it's not quite as simple, because we haven't got quite a in the UK, suing people is not that common. It's not that easy, and it's not that. I know in the States, people are a lot more cautious of it because people sue at the drop of a hat.
I think in the UK they would literally say you were given you were given those tablets, and in that box was a advisory sheet, and there's the contract, so off you pop. I think that's probably what they would say.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd entertain a case of negligence or clinical negligence if you went in and sort of took these tablets and this happened to me.
No, I don't think so. And it's the same. Well, I was going to tell another story then, but I won't actually. I don't think this is the place to tell that story, but moving on.
It's interesting it's interesting to be sat in a chat with at least 2-3 other people who have experienced similar things, because you sometimes do feel like you were the only person who's like trod that path, if you know what I mean. So, but I find that some people, some people might go, "What are you talking about this for on the internet?" Do you know what? I'm not embarrassed about any of it, because I don't. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. But
No,
equally,
and
as I said,
it's important to talk about these things as well, because and also you never know who's listening, and you never know how it might help them. You know, we don't know who's listening to this podcast, to this live stream. It might be that something is said tonight that helps someone in a little way, to either not feel so alone, not feel quite so upset about something,
Right.
maybe a little more
absolutely.
hopeful.
But that's why I also put the provisor out there of, like, I am not a doctor, and I can only talk on my experiences. It's like you have to you can listen and take advice and or whatnot, but ultimately it lies in your own hands. And if you're in doubt, or if you're depressed, man, if you're genuinely depressed, do you know what? If you're shy to go to the doctors, just go to the doctors. Do you know what? If you have to, or phone your mate up or something, because to be honest with you, if that's the minimal thing you do, I'm not saying that phoning a friend is a substitute for seeing a general practitioner, but I'm saying, if at the very least, if you're in that low of a place, pick a phone up to someone. Even if you don't necessarily talk about your issue, even if you just get on the phone and talk about something you enjoy, that might be the thing that lifts your mood just that little bit that day.
Yeah.
And can make it a bit better, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
I feel very awkward on the camera, Tim. I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
No, but it's true though. It is right. I mean, it can be the hardest thing, is making that call. That can be harder than than um than kind of getting through the period that you're in. It can actually be harder to make that call, but it's an essential thing to do. And like you said, Nick, whether it's to a friend, to a doctor, whoever it might be, it's always better to try and reach out to someone if you can. Yeah, I mean, there's been a situation in my life recently where somebody lost their life. Somebody took their own life, and no one knew anything about why they'd done it, and no one will ever know. This person never said anything to anyone, so no one had any idea that this individual was struggling to that degree. No one had any clue at all, and this person took their life in a very, very swift, very violent way, and all of this person's friends, family, no one knows why they did it, and we will never
It's
know.
crazy.
And
We lost.
no one knew anything was wrong. If only they had said something to somebody, maybe somebody could have intervened or seen that this was possibly on the cards. But it was a complete shot out of the blue. And
Mhm.
Do you know what, man?
this person is now no longer with us.
We lost someone about 5-6 years ago, and they were the happiest person you would ever know.
Mm.
Right.
And they took their life, and exactly that. No one knows why. No notes, no nothing. The most happy-go-lucky person with a job they loved, with friends, with a partner. We just do not know. We will never know. So, but that just goes to show you that whatever you see on the outside and is projected outwards, whatever they
Mhm.
project outwards, is not a true representation of what they're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
again, Tim.
Anyway, let's change gears to something slightly more upbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to make a request that we leave mental health out of the chill stream, since they are supposed to be a chill stream. Unless
Well,
it's an emergency, an absolute emergency.
Well, I think it's fair. I mean, it's fair that it kind of came up in conversation and we've dealt with it. But I mean, yeah, let's not make a habit of it.
yeah. I think it's important to bring it out. It's. I think what happens in a lot of modern or first world society is we look at bits of advice and we latch onto that quickly, whether it's good, not good, whatever. And but it's important to get that information out there. Not to take our word as gospel, but it's something that people may not have had awareness of. At least there's that, because at least we have 3 cases, and all it takes is one. All it takes is one. That we want to give our perspective, and that maybe, just maybe, like I think Dean or Nick or Monkeyboy, something that somebody can consider, like, oh, maybe I'm going through that, and then maybe not go to their medical professional right away, but at least they can go to someone they can trust and say, well, maybe I should do this, but they won't know unless we raise it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Don't make a habit, but sometimes, like, just hearing what you guys tell me, it leads me down a certain path. Not entirely, but it makes me think about it. It's like, oh, you know, I'm not looking for validation or anything, but it's like something to consider. All 3 of you give me something to consider. And it just makes me question, you know, what's the state of our pharmaceuticals and so on. But we need to have that conversation somehow. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, right. Hard gear change.
Sure.
Okay, so apologies to the rest of the panel if no one is familiar with kung fu movies, but I did promise Lester earlier on that I would play a game with him regarding kung fu movies, and that the game is called Yes, No, Don't Know. So if it's okay with everybody else and no one's got any objections, I'd like to go ahead and play that game. I imagine it will take between 5 and 10 minutes. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. Right, so what I'm going to do, Lester, is I'm going to present to you various kung fu movies, and I just want you to tell me yes, no, or don't know. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, number 1, Once Upon a Time in China.
Yes, to a degree. I only watched a bit of it.
Okay, next one, and these are in no particular order, and they're all really random. You might not have seen some of them, which is why I've given you the don't know option.
Sure.
Number 2, Beach and Moo.
No.
No. Okay.
Maybe under a different title, but I'll say no.
Okay. Jet Li's Fearless.
Yes, but only in snippets.
Okay. I ought to tell you that according to your answers, these are the ones I'm going to watch next. I have seen them all, but I plan to watch them all again. But the ones that you say yes to, I'm going to be watching first. Next up, Tony Jaa in Ong Bak.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. Good choice. Next, Bang Rajan.
I have not watched it.
So is that a no or a don't know?
Oh, don't know. I
Don't
see
know.
what you mean.
Okay.
I see the premise behind your questioning. Okay.
Okay. Next up, a classic, Mr. Vampire.
Don't know.
Oh, you haven't seen Mr. Vampire? Oh my goodness. Right. Okay. This next one is could be a deal breaker. I might have to throw all my toys out the pram. Iron Monkey.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Okay. Good choice. I'm glad you said that. Next up, Jackie Chan's Drunken Master.
Yes.
Yep. Good. I'm liking the yes pile at the moment. Okay. Next up, Jackie Chan's Young Master.
Don't know.
Okay.
It might be good because it's a Jackie Chan, but
Yeah. Okay. Next up, a Chinese ghost story.
don't know it. I haven't
Oh
watched
my,
it.
really? Oh my goodness. Okay, this one you may not have seen. Scorpion King.
Not
This is
that
not
iteration. I haven't seen that. No,
okay.
no.
Is that I
Not
don't know?
iteration. Don't know.
Okay. Next up, Jet Li's Hero.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's only 3 more. I don't know how interesting this is for anybody, but okay. Next one, we've got Sammo Hung's Magnificent Butcher.
Don't know it, but I want to watch it.
Oh, I can really recommend this one. Check
Yeah,
out
yeah.
Magnificent Butcher. It's really, really, really good. Really good. Okay, next up, Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain.
Don't know. Don't know.
You haven't seen Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain? There's a guy at the end that has got really, really long eyebrows, and his eyebrows fly out from his head. They're still attached to his head, but they fly out and they attach themselves to a planet or the moon or something, and they pull
All
the
right.
moon in. So
Okay.
yeah, and so yeah,
I
check that
will
one
have
out.
to set my mind in a certain frame of reference so I can get the most out of that.
Yeah, I mean it is bonkers, but it's a classic. It's got what's her name in it? I can't see now. It's got I can't remember her name, but the chick that's in it is really good.
Okay.
I've forgotten her name now, but Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain, and
Okay.
and then last up, New Dragon Gate Inn.
I don't know.
Oh, and I thought we've got a big don't know pile here. Look, this is your don't know pile. This is your don't know pile. This is your This is your yes pile. And then you've got one no, which was Beach and Moo.
Because I didn't see it. I didn't know it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably a don't know then. So your don't know
Yeah.
pile was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Next week, Bruce Lee movies. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Well, that was the end of the game.
Yeah. It's just because I tend to look down on a lot of period pieces, and Hero is probably the best one out of all the ones I've seen. And I guess I'll throw in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was
Okay,
another one.
guys. Dean is having to. I
All
think
right, Dean.
he has to go.
Oh, okay, Dean. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, man. Really appreciate it. It was good to see you.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come on, and that was a very good chat we all had there. So I really appreciate being part of that.
Thank you so much for coming on. It'd be great to have you on another time.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed it, Dean. Thank you so
Good
much.
chat, Dean. Hope I didn't bring it down too low for you, man.
No, not at all. Not at all. It was a really valuable conversation we had there. Very good stuff.
Indeed.
So, well, thank you all, and I will see you all next time.
Thanks, Dean.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, Dean.
Cool. Well, Lester, I'm very surprised that for some of those that you hadn't seen. I'm pleased you've seen Iron Monkey.
Yeah, it was around my time, or at least when Kung Fu movies started making a comeback. I think especially after Crouching Tiger, and was Iron Monkey before that or after that?
Oh yeah. Iron Monkey. Let me see if I can find the date on it. Iron Monkey's fantastic. I would say it's probably one of my favorite kung fu films, if not my favorite kung fu film. It's absolutely brilliant. The scene at the end when they're standing on all the poles, there's all the different poles that are standing up, and they're fighting by jumping from pole to pole. It's really, really good. Let me see if I can find a year on this. It does have it on there, but I can't read it either with my glasses or without my glasses, so I'm not sure. But no, it's from the same. It's got the same action director as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and The Matrix. So the action director is the same.
Yeah.
It's the same guy.
Okay.
So that that makes sense. Absolutely fantastic film.
So if you guys would say, if I was to say to you guys, right, I'd actually seen a couple of those films you brought up there, but I don't watch lots of kung fu movies. But if
Don't mind me.
other than Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I've definitely seen that.
Sure.
If you say to me, I'm asking you guys now, I want you to tell me one kung fu film that is an absolute must that I need to go away and watch because having not watched it is a crime against the world. What film is that? What's the
I would
film?
say, in no particular order, Sha Po Long or SPO. I think it's the English title is Killzone, whatever. But I got the I think it's the Cantonese one, SPL, and then Way of the Dragon. I think it's Big Brother with Donnie Yen. It was on Prime. Big Brother. That Kung Fu Hustle for a good laugh. I came around on Kung Fu Hustle actually, but after watching it a couple of more times, I just
We're doing a terrible job at picking one, Lester.
I'm sorry. All right.
So does this movie count as in for it all? Because a film I absolutely love and I still have on DVD. I must get it on Blu-ray if it's out. I bloody love Enter the Dragon. I think that's a fantastic film. I love the whole feel of it. It's just a cool film.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee, I think's one everyone needs to see.
I would say, well, if I'm honest in answering your question, I would say there's probably no. I forget how you put it now, but I don't think you said life or death, but there was some extreme way you put it. I wouldn't say
Just
that
need to tell me a film I need to see because it's a crime that I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that it's a crime not to have seen any kung fu movie, to be honest. However, I would say, let me just see where it is. I showed it a moment ago. Here it is. It's in this pile. One story that it's a very good story. It's got some great action in it. It's got some awesome actors in it. It's got Maggie Cheung. It's got Donnie Yen. It's got Jet Li. And that would be Hero. If you haven't seen Hero, it's well worth a watch. It's a great film. It's like I said, the action is brilliant, but it's also got a really good story. It's a very I don't know how to put it, but it's very interesting. It's a very simple concept for a film, whereby and correct me if I'm wrong, Lester, but this is the one where he goes to visit the high up guy, and he has to get closer and closer to him by winning certain battles, and then each battle that he wins, he's allowed to get a little bit closer to the end boss.
Yeah,
that's kind of how the story plays out. Right. But it's a really good story, so I would recommend Hero from a story perspective. Fantastic film.
Right. I will watch that, but I have another question that you might be able to answer me. I watched the film bloody years ago now, and I really enjoyed it. It was a Jet Li film, and the one standout feature I can remember of it, I want to watch it again, but he does lots of things with needles. Like he's fighting, he'll stick a needle in someone, they'll go limp, or he puts a needle in his hand.
Kiss of the Dragon.
Yeah, Kiss of the Dragon. That's it. Kiss of the Dragon. I saw that at the cinema. Yeah, it's really good. And it's got some and the scenes when he puts the needles in people, it goes to to an interior shot of the body and shows different sort of organs and stuff failing and exploding and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's really good. But another film that I can strongly recommend if you just want to have your jaw hit the floor at what a human is able to do, it would be Ong Bak.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Debbie Does Dallas, but no, I can do Ong Bak.
Honestly, the choreography and just the sheer physical skill of Tony Jaa in this film is unbelievable. You will be convinced that he's using wires or special effects or camera techniques. No, everything you see in this film is a guy actually doing it. If
Was
you
he a
can get
Muay
hold,
Thai
I think,
fighter or something?
yeah. And if you can find the film to watch for free, watch it. But I can really recommend picking up cheaply on eBay a copy. I think this is the 2 disc. Is it 2 disc? Yeah, the 2 disc copy, because the behind the scenes features are probably more impressive than the actual film itself, because you see raw footage of this guy practicing the techniques and the stunts that he does in the show, and it is absolutely mind-boggling what this guy can do. If you thought Bruce Lee's skills were good, this guy is on a whole nother level. I'm not saying he's better than Bruce Lee, because that's that's quite a controversial point, but he's different. But the acrobatic skill of Tony Jaa in this film is absolutely breathtaking. You will watch this film and you will rewind it so many times, because you'll see something and go, no, surely that couldn't have been a human doing that. Absolutely stunning. So, Hero if you want a good story and a good adventure and a good film. Ong Bak if you want your jaw to hit the floor.
Nice. I'll watch
They would
both of
be,
those. No
they would
problem.
be my recommendations.
I want to watch. What's that Jet Li film again? Kiss of the Dragon.
Kiss of the Dragon, yeah. I think it's also got Bridget Fonda in it.
Yes, I believe so. Now, I liked that because Jet Li had. It was probably the early naught. I hate that term, naughties, but the naughties. Jet Li had a bit of a. He had a bit of a peak in Hollywood, didn't he? They
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff because I like people probably go it's rubbish, but I really like Romeo Must Die. I think that's a brilliant film.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, but then I also liked the Steven Seagal film Exit Wounds, which was made by the same producers and team and everything. I just
Oh,
the
I've not
cheesy.
seen that.
Oh, it's the first time you'll see Seagal do a bit of really bad wire work.
Oh,
There's one scene where he does a really bad bit of wire work where he's just stood there, then all of a sudden he just flipping turns and kicks his guy in the head and turns back round again. It's like that's terrible. But
well, in
Michael
a
J.
in a
White's
lot of
in it.
these movies, like Iron Monkey, Bitch and Moo, um, most of these movies, New Dragon Gate Inn, any one of these ones you could pick, Zoo Warriors, um, there's a lot of extreme wire work, and it's highly, highly unbelievable, because the characters are literally flying around, um, and it's completely preposterous, and all you can hear is
Wasn't it?
the flapping of baggy trousers as they through the air and boot someone in the head from across the room.
Was it
It's
Crouching
absolutely
Tiger
preposterous.
where at one point one of them's balancing on a
On
sword
a,
or something?
yeah, and on the end of a tree, and yeah. So a lot of that, but I mean that's part of that genre of movie, and you kind of expect that, and once you get past how silly it is, you can kind of appreciate some of the choreography and some of the acrobatic skill that's gone into it.
I
Um,
don't mind silly, I don't mind wire work, I don't mind acrobatic. It was just that one scene in Exit Wounds where even on like the special features on the DVD, like they showed how they did it, and it was just a really out of place. It was one of those things where you watch it and go, yes, there's been some stunts and there are some Michael J. White's in it. It's an amazing fight with him and Seagal at the end. But you watch this one clip and you're like, that's really out of place in the whole film. Like you can't imagine a 6'6", 250-pound man just go whoop whoop, just
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It's really bizarre.
Well, I can recommend, if you want to see some actually stuff done really well that's not on wires, I recommend Ong Bak. I know there's one scene, or there are a couple of scenes that they might have slightly overcranked the speed so that it's slightly quicker. but not many. And like I said, there's no wire work, there's no special effects. It's a guy actually doing this stuff. And when if you see these special features when he's practicing them, I mean, you see him like doing 20 or 30 takes just to try and get this one move down, and practicing it over and over again. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's like I once watched a BMX video where someone was on a half pipe, and at the start of the video they couldn't do a backflip, and the whole video was them practicing how to do a backflip on a half pipe on a BMX, and obviously they did it time and time and time again, and so basically almost the entire video was them landing on their head, on their ass, on their back, and you saw them progressively getting better and better until at the end of the video they could perform a backflip every single time on a half pipe. And it's much the same with Ong-Bak. You see them create this scene, and you see the physical endurance of the guy trying time and time again to do it, even sometimes fracturing his own body, and then having to go away and heal for 6 months and come back and try that scene again. It's absolutely incredible.
People are mad, man.
Yeah.
People are mental. What do you think? But then, like, I know it's different, but I remember watching the making of The Matrix and that scene where Trinity does that run and flip off the wall.
Oh yeah.
Eventually, they had to cut it into 2 bits. But what's her name? Is it Carrie? Who is it who plays Trinity?
Um,
Carrie Ann
oh,
Moss, is it? Or something like
yes.
that?
Yeah.
She was so pissed off of herself because she was getting so close to perfecting this wire trick in one. It's like run off a wall and flip. But I
Yeah.
think in the last time before she did it, she actually she rolled her ankle on the wall. So that was it. And there wasn't any time. So they went, right, we're just gonna have to clip this. They took shots and
Oh,
put it, and
okay.
it looks great, but she was so obsessed with getting this one move down because it was possible, but like she was just messing herself up trying to do it.
Right.
But obviously the execs and all that are like, yeah, we've got to roll on. We
Yeah.
can't spend any more time on this.
How about you, Tim? Have you seen much kung fu?
No, aside from Enter the Dragon, and I think I've seen the Street Fighter with Sonny Chiba and Sister Street Fighter, and then seen one that mixes like Filipino martial arts with blaxploitation, TNT Jackson, where it's a black girl going. I think she's going to Hong Kong, but they filmed it in the Philippines to
Okay.
look for her brother. Brother gets killed by a drug dealer.
Is that the one from the 70s or something?
Yeah, it's from. I think it came out in either 74 or 75. It's the
Yeah.
one that Roger Corman produced.
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with it. It rings a couple of bells dimly. Yeah. Yeah, no, I got very into the genre for a while. And for a time that was the only thing I was watching was kung fu movies, and I was seeking out, I would watch one kung fu movie, find out about it, and then from that would lead me to another one because I would listen to the DVD commentary and they would be talking about other films, and I would say, oh, well, I'll check that one out as well. So I went through, about 30 sort of movies from classic movies, like the Bruce Lee movies, through the sort of 80s movies like Iron Monkey and stuff, and then into the 90s and 2000s. And yeah, I really sort of got into the genre for a while. And the film company Hong Kong Legends bought the rights to so many movies and re-released them in special editions, with commentaries and features and stuff. So yeah, I really got into them for a while. It's not my favorite genre by a long way, but yeah, I dipped my toe in for quite an extended period.
It's always there's so many great films when you start going down those rabbit holes, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Um, you just can find so many amazing films. I'm just looking back over my APD APC notes because my memory should be better than this, but it's been like 3 months. But interestingly, the first Turtles movie was brought to the cinema by one of the companies that I think it's Golden Harvest,
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Golden Harvest.
Yeah.
because no other company would touch it. And of course, they were famous for like Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan stuff. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
even these
Golden Harvest was
studios and
massive.
stuff, like I know it's not the kung fu movie, but there's ninja fighting and stuff in it, or whatever
Yeah, yeah,
style of the
yeah.
turtles
Yeah,
fighting.
but you would bill it as a kung fu movie as long as it had punches and kicks and other things. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so yeah, effectively the first Turtles movie, the second one as well, Golden Harvest. I
yep.
think it was called something. It was Golden something Harvest because they slightly changed the name through the years. That's what I was looking for my notes for. I can't find them. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
so the first Turtles movie. So technically, that's a kung fu movie then, because it's produced by one of the big
Yeah,
kung fu studios. And
yeah. I
I'm
mean, Golden Harvest really had the monopoly on kung fu movies for a while. I mean, no one else was putting out content like they were. I mean, they were churning out movies like
well,
nobody's business.
well, especially because of the thing between them and Shaw Brothers. But
Yeah,
there's a reason why anybody who wanted to get into the movie scene, the kung fu movie scene, went to Hong Kong because that's where you would go to do your
yeah.
thing. Cynthia Rothrock. It was
Oh yeah,
Cynthia
China
Roth.
O'Brien,
Yep,
fantastic.
exactly. I mean, I started coming around and like I know what I'm walking into when I watch a Cynthia Rothrock movie. Yeah, they were pretty. They were decent. They're not Oscar winners. I'm not looking for Oscar winners. It's like,
so
No, they were good movies. Oh, what's that you've got, Tim?
Well, this is a Canadian horror movie. It's Golden Harvest put this out called Deadly Eyes about killer rats, but it was
Oh,
a
cool.
Canadian horror film done by I think either the producer or director of Enter the Dragon. So at one point in this movie, in a movie theater scene, there's all these people making out in the movie theater watching Enter the Dragon, and these killer rats come in and start biting and attacking people, and people stampede out the door and through the glass windows of this movie theater to try to escape being eaten by these giant killer rats
okay.
that
Oh,
were like,
cool.
I think they were
so
like little dachshunds made to look like rats in this
Oh,
movie.
really?
so Tim,
Yeah,
would you like to know what? Would you like me to tell you what the budget of that movie was?
go ahead.
So I was just looking back. So that 1.6 million Canadian dollars. Now you think Golden Harvest paid that for that film, that was 1982 apparently. I'm
Yeah,
not saying this to keep banging on about Turtles, but when you think they put something like 13.5 million into Turtles, which for a company like that, which is like a film factory,
Hmm.
to bang that in a film, and on Turtles they got a $202 million return, US dollar. Well, I can't find what the box office was for that Deadly Eyes, but I want to watch it because just I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but just the case alone makes it look absolutely awesome.
yeah,
Well,
but
if
it
they're
gets
dressing
pretty.
dogs up as rats,
It's pretty gory and violent though. But Scatman Carruthers, who was the voice of Hong Kong Fooey, and he was the voice of
yeah,
the Autobot Jazz and the Transformers cartoon.
yeah.
He's in it.
I still
Cool.
big cam, so I was just searching for facts and figures.
Well,
And Andrew, sorry to interrupt. I think Andrew's off. Yeah. Okay, Andrew. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for staying. Oh, was Antara saying that she didn't think Deadly Eyes was any good. She couldn't believe it cost that much.
Yeah, and I think at the start of that movie, you see somebody's baby getting carried off and eaten by rats
Oh,
oh,
okay.
somewhere in the beginning of that movie.
intriguing.
That's mad. Well, it was typical of Golden Harvest from what I've learnt about them. They do it, but it was distributed by Warner Brothers, so
Yep.
they tend
Golden
to make
Harvest
them and
actually they merged with another company.
they
At some point, I forget who it was.
Hmm.
I
Was it
think
Red
it's
Dawn or
Fortune.
something?
Might have been Fortune Star, and because Fortune Star was the company that Shout Factory licensed this film from in the U.S. But now this DVD Blu-ray combo is out of print.
Okay,
yeah, because they're now actually called Orange Sky Golden
that's
Harvest.
it. That's it.
Okay.
Orange Sky Golden
That's what I was
Harvest.
trying to
Yeah.
remember because we come across that when we were researching turtles. So, yeah, but I mean, their list of films that they've produced is just, from 1970 right the way up till, up to 2015. So have they stopped now?
I don't know. I mean, I assume they must still be putting stuff out, otherwise they wouldn't have done the merger. But
Maybe. I mean, I'm only looking on Wikipedia, and believe me, I have found out before from subsequent research and things that as good as Wikipedia is, sometimes it's not the most complete or it is missing things.
yeah,
But that's it. It's interesting how just the sheer quantity of what they've done is just
oh yeah. They were churning them out so many per year. It was crazy. But their productions were known for being very efficient. They weren't taking months and months and months to shoot a little flick. They really had it down because they were doing so many of them. They had everything was really really expedited. They were very good at putting them
think
out.
it do you think they took the business approach of like pile them high, sell them cheap then? Because $1.5 million budgets, I guess if you're producing that many films, rather than looking for that one big blockbuster like what they had with the Turtles, which doesn't always happen, I guess if you're churning out enough, even if you're just doubling your budget, which they say isn't that great in Hollywood, but I guess if you're doing that many films, it actually becomes quite
Yeah,
profitable overall.
yeah, absolutely. And because a lot of their films, the kung fu films that they were putting out, they could make them on a real budget. They weren't big productions. Um, they didn't have to go looking for locations because they already had all the locations. They didn't need to spend and couldn't spend money on special effects because it was the 70s and the 80s, so there wasn't, they weren't doing CGI and all this sort of stuff that costs a lot of money. They were having to do everything practically with practical effects and wires and camera techniques that were all done on the day. Their post production wasn't a lengthy process. A lot of the stuff was done in camera, and then just edited together. They didn't have to spend a lot of money um, in post. So yeah, absolutely, they were churning them out and making a real good profit on them,
So I guess if
and
you
and,
watch
and
enough,
they could afford to make shit ones.
Okay, Lester.
Okay.
And guys, I think I'm going to end now because, yeah, Lester has to drop out. And
No problem. Yeah, we've been going for 3 hours.
Yeah, and yeah, Lester's going to the same place I'm going online, so I wanted to, it was another live stream happening, so I wanted
Okay,
to
cool.
end now just so I could go over there, but now Lester wants to go there too, so
No problem.
thank you all for coming and get some sleep,
guys.
guys, because it looks like you're getting sleepy, Nick.
Just far too relaxed, mate.
Okay. I thought you were starting to fall asleep.
No,
Well,
mate,
thanks.
fully awake.
Thanks for coming on, guys. Really appreciate it.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And we'll
having
see everyone next week. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Indeed.
Okay.